Hello everyone. I think we're live now. I think we're just waiting on Sam to return.
I am now back.
Taste of coward.
Sam, do the intro.
Wait, are we live?
Yeah, Dan started a bit live early. But...
Hello, everyone. Unexpectedly started the stream, and welcome to the semi-final, the first semi-final of the MMOCircles Imperial versus Cambridge tournament. This round, unfortunately, has two Imperial teams: ICawin versus Extra ThICc, and with me today we have Milky Door and Toby as our colour casters. Who do we think is going to win this game?
I think this game is going to be very close. So, ICawin has the advantage in terms of teamwork because they practice a lot and they've known each other for longer. Extra ThICc, we're thinking might have the stronger players individually, just based on solo queue ranking. But overall, it's sort of a battle of playstyles. Either could win, really.
Do we know how each team plays? Which, whether one team's more late game, early game?
So, if you look at the pick bans from if you look at the bans from ICawin, they banned Nidalee Kane. So, Extra ThICc typically relies on like a strong early game jungler to like snowball out from, you know, strong laning and early jungle pressure. Those have been banned, so potentially we'll see a different style from Extra ThICc than we're used to. I know their jungler has been practicing Sejuani, so potentially we'll see that come out. Yeah, so I mean, Varus ban coming out makes sense. Most OP AD carry right now.
Is he?
Particularly in competitive.
Definitely. He's
the ultimate.
He's so OP right now.
I did not know this. I assumed it was like Vayne and Tristana, as always.
So Kog'Maw used to be like a patch ago, and then he got nerfed. Tristana is the probably one of the second ones. Along
Yeah,
with
we do
Xayah.
see the Tristana as the first pick.
So there's not really any other top tier AD carries out there right now. Potentially ThICc, or I don't know what Kartai plays really. He likes falling back to the Jhin, but it's not really a strong pick right now. So I'm not sure what we're going to see.
I think although like most of the time with these sorts of tournaments, the comfort is more important than the strong meta picks. There's no point picking Varus if you don't play Varus. But
yeah. So speaking of comfort, Extra ThICC's support player, 9 Buksuki 6, is like a prolific E-Grill support player. He likes Janna, he likes Soraka. Those are the two. So it makes sense that Janna's.
Those are the two. He's a prolific. He's a prolific two-man support or two-woman support player.
Two-trick pony.
He loves those two, yeah.
And we've got the Evelyn.
Yeah, sort of similar playstyle to Nidalee Kane. Not the Sejuani I was expecting, but...
There we go with the Sejuani. Now, I want to see a Braum. Actually, no, they've got the Janna, so definitely don't need to look at a Braum, but I would, if I was Extra ThICC, I would definitely take away the Braum. Wait,
yeah.
which team's which?
So Extra ThICC is on the right. So if I was ICawin right
yeah.
now, they could pick up Sejuani Braum, although they don't need to pick up the Braum right now.
Yeah, they don't need to pick up the Braum right now, but I would do it because if I was Extra ThICC, I would ban away the Braum. That Triss Braum bot lane is not one that you want to fight. Or take away the Tahm Kench and Braum. We've got a lot of strong supports open.
Yep, Tarek's also open.
It's interesting Rengar picked into the Janna. That's normally not what you want.
Yeah, so I think considering the ICawin players, this is going back to comfort. So Rengar is one of the Fuafua and Neko's
the
preferred champion, and then Your Cookie only really loves the Gangplank. So
there are the comfort picks, but we do have the Vayne, typically anti-assassin ADC, and then the Janna even more so. Plus, we're going to probably see some stopwatch, and I think the Rengar's going to really struggle.
Yeah. I think the Evelyn is quite an interesting pick here because it doesn't have the same early impact that you'd see from Nidalee, for example. I feel because Evelyn takes a while to turn on. I mean, she needs to hit 6 before her ganks really kick in, and the Rengar counter, 2 quite strong early or different junglers to the meta we see usually. Like the lack of Sejuani is quite interesting from ICawin when it's open.
Yeah,
especially with Tristana.
The Braum ban comes out as expected. Also, the Bard ban. Ricky P is a Bard main, so they're targeting Ricky P trying to get his champ pool to something he's less comfortable with. He'll probably force onto something like a... I mean, maybe a Lulu would work. Yeah, so also the Croatia Void on Extra Thick. He likes to play mage supports. Oh, sorry, mage mid laners. So the Xerath ban is sort of targeted that, and also the Vladimir fits into that. It's for so that's also Chaos Effect. He likes to play Vladimir. He also likes to play Gnar, so that's why I picked that.
There's a decent lack of frontline from ICawin's composition so far, though. Rengar will get blown up pretty quickly.
Yeah, with Zillion as well.
Same with Gangplank. They don't really.
I was hoping for the Braum, and we did, as I said, see the Braum ban out of Extra Thick, which was why I was sort of expecting ICawin to pick it up before the second rotation of bans. We have the Zillion instead, not quite the same lane presence as you would get from the Braum.
Unless this is a mid Zillion we're seeing.
Unless it's a mid Zillion, who knows?
It could be either way around. Who knows?
Oh wow!
I'm expecting that to be a mid Annie. I haven't seen support Annie in a long time.
I haven't seen support Annie or support Zillion in a long time.
Oh no, it's mid to Leah.
So it's support Zillion.
No, it's
they ended up lacking in the front line. They could have went a tank support with a Zillion mid, but they didn't.
I do feel like not having a tank in their composition is going to hurt a lot. Like especially
this is going to be a painful composition. I am honestly, from the team comps, I'd be so surprised if ICawin managed to get far in this game. Rengar is a champion that needs to snowball, but versus a stopwatch, an Evelyn who can counter gank, Lux with the shields, Jarno with the steals, Vayne who is typically anti-assassin with her ult. Rengar's going to have a really tough time doing anything. You're not going to be able to play team fights because you've got no front line. Gangplank can't split push against the Gnar, and they can't even win their lane solo because there's an Evelyn jungle.
Yeah, so they do have
What's
the
their
push.
plan here?
They have the push in mid and bot, so Taliyah should
Yeah,
I think
but you can't do that versus the Evelyn. Really?
Yeah, definitely would.
But I mean, it depends on their vision coverage. They might prioritize that heavily.
Yeah, unless you're very good at tracking the Evelyn, but that's quite a hard thing to do. As we said, ICawin haven't played. Which is a team that haven't played much with each other?
This is Extra Thick.
So Extra Thick is a good.
The one on the right.
Extra Thick have the better solo players. So maybe with the superior teamwork, we will get some good tracking of the Evelyn jungle. But
so Extra Thick is the one with the Evelyn.
Yeah, Extra Thick's got the Evelyn. Yeah,
it is. If you look at the lanes there, for example, in the top matchup, Ngar will beat Gangplank to death. Like I think the biggest factors will be how well Rengar can gank and how well Taliyah can roam, because these lanes, if they're not ahead at any point, if Gangplank is just behind all game, as he should be, but if he's too behind all game, they can't do anything. Ngar will roll over them with CC.
We have champions that on the side of ICawin that typically need to get ahead, like the Rengar and Gangplank, and versus an Evelyn who can shut down the lanes pretty well. It's going to be hard, but the one saving grace is the Taliyah versus the Lux. Taliyah is much better at roaming, and it's going to be really down to T. Roland, I think, to pull this one through.
Yeah, so they've also got the Gangplank ult to help out with, like, they could probably do a 4-man or 5-man bot with the help of the Gangplank ult, try and shut down this Vayne, because potentially they'll be, lacking in damage if they're just leaving it all down to a Lux and a really under-farmed Vayne. So maybe they try to shut down the Vayne and because they do have a lot of damage on the side of ICawin. Like, pretty much all 5 of them bring a lot of damage to a team fight.
I would say both compositions have strange wrenches in the champions. Like the Evelyn, if you could replace that with a Sejuani, for example, that would be lovely. Like this double tank frontline, which Lux and Vayne can shoot through freely.
Yeah, so I mean, it sort of just comes down to these like champion pools of these players. Fight of the Universe likes to play very aggressive and typically squishy stuff. Eve fits into that perfectly, and then Fua Neko loves the Rengar. So really, they're sort of hampering their team a little bit by playing these champions, but it's sort of all they've practiced with, and
it's reasonable if it's their only option. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's sort of how they got to the elo that they did get at, and potentially they might play a lot worse on tankier champions.
I'm interested in T. Roland taking Cleanse is very clever against the Lux Binding and the Evelyn Charm and all of the Gnar stuns and the multitude of CC that can be thrown.
Yeah, it makes his laning a lot safer. I imagine. I mean, what could he have taken other than that?
I mean, heal is the other, or barrier would be the other common Taliyah keystones, I suppose. Oh, sorry, some of the spells or Ghost. Well, but ones make sense.
Yeah.
The Keystone choices would also be pretty cool. It's worth thinking about who will be spellbooking this game for the late game teleports.
I would only take a TP Lux with a spellbook in this game, certainly. You don't want to have a TP versus a
People don't typically take TP as their it's going into the game if they're going to take spellbook.
But you also don't take TP on Lux versus the Rengar, so who knows?
Maybe she's expected to get pushed out of lane and want. Oh, actually, I don't even know. A bit weird.
Lux is an awkward champion because unless ahead you generate pretty low pressure and you almost never have push priority. So
yeah,
she's relying on teleport to help her team.
There's a point in the game where she starts to clear waves very very easily.
Lux or Talia?
It's not minute one.
That's sort of true.
Lux. So Talia is clearing waves from much earlier.
Talia clears waves from minute one. Lux clears waves from Ludens.
Yeah, it's a lot later. So,
and even then, your E won't kill the casters half the time.
The E doesn't. It's very easy to get to the stage where you can nearly kill wave as Lux.
Yeah. Also, we do have the spellbook coming out from Lux.
So it's a spellbook. Okay.
Interesting choice to start with TP rather than go with the combat summoner and then changing it to TP.
Unless she's got some specific strategy for going in lane and farming up a few.
Yeah, I mean, she could also bring the minion dematerializer, probably quite common on Lux, just for the inability to kill minions.
Lux does struggle with the mana, especially in the early stages of laning. It might be worth just getting that first item that builds into the Morenacon, what gives you the mana.
Yep.
Whatever.
Would work well. Yeah. I think most of the time Lux will just rush Morello anyway, just for its that efficiency. But I do agree that running teleport into the game is not as efficient as taking just heal first, because unless you plan to switch out summoners every 3 minutes, you're not going to run out of those spell shards that you need. So I wouldn't agree with that, especially an early gank could just destroy Lux, for example.
Early ganks are good against Lux, but I feel like Rengar versus Evelyn in the jungle shouldn't be too much of a struggle for ICawin to survive these early ganks. As long as Evelyn plays smart. Rengar's
we shouldn't see too much in terms of the junglers until they both hit 6, because that's when their ganks really become fierce. Until then, not much.
I'm not so sure about the matchup of Lux versus Talia. It is a skill matchup, but Talia is going to have an edge, I think, in terms of trading.
Another interesting thing is the bot lane. So we've got Ignite on Janna versus Exhaust on Zilean. So, I mean, both of them are facing off against, melee assassins. So, equally well, they could have both picked Exhaust or both picked Ignite. I don't think there's any reason other than just sort of which lane is looking to play it safe and which lane is looking to play aggressive.
It's interesting also the Zilean, we don't see a spell, but we see the area, so clearly wanting a lot more lane pressure. Not that Zilean brings too much to the lane, but it looks like they want all they can get to shut down that lane as much as they can. But against Janna, they're not going to have too much.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Zilean could have definitely taken Ignite here. I mean, they should have a decent amount of kill pressure, especially with the Rengar-Talia Gangplank combo. That just adds a bit more to that.
If he opted for the spellbook, absolutely, he could run Ignite and without fear of lacking Exhaust late game. But as it is, if they're looking to go late game, which they almost definitely are with the Tristana Gangplank, then they want the Exhaust in late to shut down the Vayne, or even the Evelyn if she starts diving the backline.
Yep, fair enough.
And we're seeing a dance party.
Yeah, we are seeing a dance party here. I'm just trying to think of the win conditions for ICawin, because for Extra ThICc, it's pretty clear they can team fight fairly well, and they can split push fairly well with the Gnar. What are ICawin planning? How do they win the game?
I think they're setting up, potentially early skirmishes, winning lots of fights, in the early mid game.
Certainly, yeah. The early skirmishes thing is a bad one for ICawin. You are going to have a much more with a Gangplank versus Gnar, with a Rengar. You're going to be able to pick off, and Talia, you're going to be able to pick off people. But then, why would you pick Trist Zilean in that? I would much.
It allows them to translate.
Ezreal, Tom, Ken should be much better for the early skirmishes, certainly.
Yeah. I mean, that would also give them somewhat of a front line, but.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we'll see how it
more
works.
more of a front lane than this, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not a
I
fan
think-
of that team comp out of ICawin.
If I try to imagine ICawin winning a team fight late game, what is it? It's Rengar being some kind of weird off tank to soak up the upfront burst of extra thick, and then praying to God that Tristana, Talia, and Gangplank don't get blown up, or Zillion manages to save one of
Yeah,
them.
praying
and
to God
mow
is part of
down
the plan.
extra
We're
thick.
seeing quite a strong trade on the bot lane onto Tristana.
The early Janna pressure.
Yeah, the early Janna pressure is sort of taking its toll. We don't really want to see ICawin losing their lanes this early, because that does not spell well for them if they need to win the early game.
Yeah, this lane really shouldn't be going this way, to be honest.
Well,
I mean, I would argue Janna's level 1 compared to Zillion's level 1. It's
Oh sure, but it's in terms of like how many trades you want to take, right?
Sure.
Tristana losing all of her health in a level 1 trade that doesn't phase her is
Yeah.
not
And
really.
additionally,
it's
what we
something
said-
you can control.
where we found that the ICawin have are lower ranked in solo queue. They've got the team play, but not the individual skill there. And then you pick this team.
Well,
Perhaps
I mean,
it's-
this is a best of 3, so they've got the whole series to
They've
adapt
got the
to
whole
it.
series, and again, taken to 200 HP. We're seeing a skirmish between Evelyn and Talia there. Evelyn's trying to do something to evade. Rengar's catching onto them, though. The double buffs are going to go over. This should be a free kill. Double buffs stay on the Rengar. Evelyn has now lost one, so that has immediately reduced a lot of the pressure onto ICawin.
I think
Yeah.
that's an over-ambitious gank from the Evelyn here, and to flash in for the charm was, I think, compared to
Flashing
flashing
in a bit.
out.
Did she not realize that Talia had the cleanse? Because that was a strange move.
Yeah, the damage didn't come close either. I'm not sure there was a way that
Yeah.
they could really die there.
That was a very overeager play, certainly. I was not prepared for that at all. I assumed she'd been quiet in the jungle, and in fact she was going for a gank, so...
So here's an alternate perspective then. We're saying ICawin here are the lower ranked players. Well, maybe this composition is designed to concede early game outplays. You know, they say, you guys, you'll beat us in lane, but we'll
You'll
beat
beat
you
us
in the
in-
mid game rotations. We'll beat you in the
Well,
in the
yeah.
vision game, the team
Maybe.
game. Because that is something that, you know, we can see Talia, Gangplank, and Rengar do very well is map pressure. And
Yeah,
coming out
but
from
that's another point of though. Given that ICawin, we say, have had this extra team experience compared to extra thick, they must have tried this comp before and it worked. They're not a team that just picks their own champs, right? If they've practiced as a team, so we
I'd
want to
say.
see how this works. I mean, getting the early kill onto an Evelyn as Rengar is not what you planned for, certainly, but it's something that will help. Rengar's now going to look for some gank on mid lane, possibly.
Yeah, they have no vision of this.
There's no vision coming out. Oh, he did cave vision. He jumps out the bush. Does he get the stun off his bind? Did just the stun very nicely. Talia's flashing in, and they do get the kill. A lack of reaction there from the Lux after the binding. Didn't have flash up. Hasn't swapped out the TP. Interesting that she was standing so far up without any vision against a Rengar that you knew just got first blood.
I think we're seeing the biggest weakness of Lux here, her sheer immobility. And especially, with no vision, seemingly no tracking on the Rengar.
Yeah,
She can't play that aggressive.
I'm so far, you might be able to tell, I've been very confused by some of this game. I don't understand ICawin's comp. I don't understand what Evelyn was doing trying to flash for a kill or nothing. But meanwhile, we see Talia ganking top onto Chaos Effect. The tunnel comes out, pushing him back, but he does nicely dodge it. Gangplank barrel's going to out, he does flash, manage to escape it. Tristana's on the bot lane, going to try and head into the Janna. Bounces in, he's going to get the kill, 100 health left.
Oh my
Does finish them off. What is going on this game? So many weird deaths. Meanwhile, Rengar's heading on mid lane again. Lux still has no vision, but there is no Talia to help, so he's just going to recall. Lux walking downwards, again without the vision. I think this is going in toward now. So many individual mistakes coming out here. We saw the play just down on the bot, which shouldn't happen. You can't just be that far out against the Janna when your team's not there. The Lux dying to a gank just because you're standing too far without wards. Very poor lane control in mid lane there.
This is also surprising given we were expecting Extra Thick to be the one with the stronger early game. But these aren't even strong team coordinated plays. Like,
Yeah, these are just
They're-
individual mistakes.
overextensions, mistakes, just being caught. But if ICawin can keep this up and get themselves a nice mid game, then they're sorted.
Yeah, so potentially this is like, I mean, potentially not, but it could be coordination breakdown. Like for instance, Lux playing that far up, maybe maybe she just had no, calls from her team about where Rengar was. Same with the Janna. Like, seems like they just have no clue what's going on around the map right now.
A lot of pings coming in onto the blue buff from Extra Thick, and it seems like they're aware that ICawin are going to try and take that from it, but they're not making any reaction. Now they are. Rengar's going to see the blue buff, but they are in vision, but they do not have vision of ICawin. We see Talia and Lux, Evelyn and Lux are coming around the side. Blue buff smited away. Stun comes out onto the Janna. Not going to do anything. Nice tornado blocking the jump there. And a blue buff that was the blue buff invade that was seen coming, planned against, and they still managed to do nothing against it. Talia ult coming in though, managing to block off the Ashe from running away. The heal comes out. Rengar's looking to gank the bot lane. He's going to jump in. Tornado nicely done. Misses the W afterwards. Ashe goes down in the meantime. Rengar in a 1v1 against Janna does manage to get the kill. That's a double kill. And again, they had full vision of the blue buff invade. Didn't do anything about it. They still had full vision of them walking around about to get tower dive and just remained to die.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, small correction, that was very kind of Ashe.
So
champions.
It's well coordinated by ICawin here though. We saw the Gangplank ult come in right on time. It's a 4-man dive. This is ICawin really showing in that short skirmish or two that they're playing as a unified unit, whereas the bot lane from Extra Thick sitting on the tower saying, please help us, please don't kill us.
Yeah, but at the same time, it was like a very predictable sort of thing that's going to happen. Like, I called it in Champions Select, but the Gangplank, Talia, Rengar, 5-man bot is something that's definitely coming out at level 6.
What I was also mentioning in Champions Select is that against the Rengar, you have the Janna and you have the stopwatches. No stopwatch on the bot lane. There's the only person with a stopwatch is Lux. Now, this is, maybe you really like the some of those master trees that you don't have stopwatch from, but against the Rengar and against these early game tower dives, which you know are going to happen, that is something you need to take. If you'd have had the stopwatches in either of those champions, that dive would not have worked, and you could have just sat there and let them waste their time. But instead, and again, like you say, they saw it coming. It's not just, we predicted it from Champ Select that they were going to be dived on bot lane. They saw them in the wards on blue buff. They saw Rengar bot lane and just stayed there and died. This is, I don't know what's going on, but.
It's worth noting too that the Lux teleport was down then, so and when the 6s are coming, you can't waste your teleport if you need to.
There's a fight going on top lane. It doesn't seem to be. Oh, Evelyn's coming from the back. Now the stopwatch comes out. Fight of the universe is going to be taken reload. Does flash away, but they don't manage to dash away with the ult. Talia's going to eventually try and get onto the Gnar and does manage to take him down. The TP coming in for Lux. The TP onto the Lux on the top lane because Evelyn is still in range with a lot of health left. That ult really helping her out there. Talia's going to try and get away. Doesn't manage to dodge dining. Does dodge dining. Binding comes out anyway from the Lux. Cleanse does come out to get his Charm. Still trying to run away. Doesn't have a flash up. Evelyn managed to get the final kill. And that was the first moment of redemption out of Extra Thick, who managed to set up quite a nice tower dive there.
Yeah,
mainly due to
scary
play, though, in the top
the Eve picked up 2 kills now, so if we were looking for Eve to snowball early on in the game, she's now got a chance to do it. Like, 2 kills is quite a lot.
In a way, this was kind of surprising because we were seeing the Rengar was taking liberties in Eve's jungle in a way, or doing what he wanted. It felt like Evelyn had no pressure whatsoever and was being out-farmed as well on top of it, but she managed to secure 2 very nice kills for herself.
Yeah, also the CS, which we previously thought was going to go heavily.
Evelyn in the mid lane and gets a nice kill very quick. This is the kind of stuff you've got to be watching out for when you're playing against the Rengar. And my prediction of the jungle has gone completely the wrong way. Rengar is completely dominating the 7th hit. He did just get the 2 kills on top. But in terms of individual jungle matchup, Evelyn, I'm going to blame it on the players rather than the champions this time though. We are seeing a trade on bot lane. The Sun comes out into Janna. A 1v1 from the Vayne and Tristana here, but the Vayne winning that, forgetting of course about the Xehanort. Gangplank coming back and they're going to have the back away, but Talia's coming from the backside. TP coming in, it's going to be a nice fight. Tristana managed to get the last kill on the Janna, and the Gangplank ult kills the Vayne. Nars going to try and flash ult, but Tristana bounces the wrong way, exhausts into the Nars, and the stun comes onto Nars. There's going to be a death for the Chaos Effect. What a useless TP into the 1v3. I don't think he expected Vayne and Tristana to die. Vayne still has heal up. I'm not sure if the heal was up in the fight or it just came up after, but that's certainly something she should have taken into.
Oh, it just came up now actually.
It just came up now, okay. So
yeah,
not
so I
totally
think
missed
Gnar
by-
should have cancelled his teleport there. It was
Yeah.
obviously far too late.
It was quite a late TP. You're right, and I don't think he expected Janna and Vayne to die because Vayne was looking like she had them.
We also saw the critical error with Vayne pop the Tristana with Zilean when it
Yeah.
was far better to either wait or leave her on 1.5 bars rather than let her come back with 600 HP.
You start the 1v1, get it to 100 health, the Zilean ult comes out, you got to stop attacking. Instead, she had a perfect chance, in fact, to stop attacking. You could have just pressed S, turned around, whatever.
Yeah, they could have just taken it for a good trade, really.
Yeah.
Didn't have to commit completely.
Yeah, so mistakes, again, out the side of the team, which we've said we're going to win the individual matchups here.
It does feel like Extra ThICc is falling apart here. Not coordinating well. The teleport was both late and just unimpactful.
Late and unimpactful indeed, but we are still seeing the CS leads, with the exception of the jungler on the side of Extra ThICc, so the individual mechanics may be coming into play here.
Yeah, in fact, keeping the gold at like somewhat closer than I expect.
On the mid lane, Evelyn getting a nice amount of Talia, free kill there in a 1v1. Both sides, in fact, getting caught out by the stealth junglers.
Wasted Rengar ult on the backside of that as well.
Yeah, wasted Rengar ult, and the bot lane has gone to top. Zilean is trying to do his best to harass away Chaos Effect on the Gnar there. Rengar's coming in, and Chaos Effect, I think, is playing a bit too cocky. The bounce is coming in, the W comes out, and the stun onto the Gnar. Evelyn's coming on the backside. Tristan jumps into the 1v5. I don't think she realizes who's there. Tristan's going way too deep there. The Lux ult comes out. Zilean ult, don't hit him. The boomerang does hit him, so he's going to be arrived with the full health. Janna gets killed on the back, was standing near Rengar in the bush. Never a good idea, but the Tristana does get bided again. Rengar then jumps in to try and clean that. Not quite enough to finish it off, and there is again a 3 for 2. Oh no, 2 for 2, sorry. So an even fight in the end. That looked messy.
Yeah, so Janna really needs to stop dying here.
Rengar starting in the bush, Zilean gets the bombs off. Is this going to be enough to kill him? He's going to try and make a counter play, but no. Ricky P getting the bombs off in the end. And Lux then teleporting bot from mid lane and taking a lot of damage in the process.
Yeah, perplexing stuff out of Extra ThICc.
And now we see the mid towers dropping down now. I don't know if trading your teleport like that to give up mid tower for free there is really worth it. It doesn't matter how much more CS you have if you have no turrets left.
Yeah, so I mean, I think all that really Extra ThICc needs to do here is to stall. So we were thinking they might have a good chance in the late game. They've got a more cohesive team now.
Yeah, exactly.
They're losing turrets left and right. I mean, we have to stop the bleeding.
Definitely back to they're losing turrets, and they're losing by 5k gold at the moment. But we were still hasn't changed the fact that ICawin's team comp has nothing going for it. So they still have that problem.
Well, they've got a lot going for it right now.
They've got a lot going for it right now because the Rengar has 5 kills. That's their saving them. And Talia is doing more than Luxus. Like we were just saying, catching onto the Evelyn there, pulling her back in to the boulders. Not quite enough to finish off, but certainly enough to take her down a lot of health. And they're going to try and siege his top lane. Tristana is very good at killing towers. Talia out comes out. Ash is now, Vayne is now caught. No flash up, but they're not going to do anything. It seems Evelyn's been coming on the back. The cleanse comes out, flashes straight into the Lux. Tristan's bouncing away. Is he going to get the last kill off onto the Evelyn? Evelyn manages to dash away. Rengar's meanwhile coming in with the Zilean, who still has ult up. Rengar's running around the back. Is he going to be able to find a kill? There are 4 people hiding on the tower. They're playing very safe off the Rengar. Very low health as well. Binding shield comes out, sorry. And the tower dive is looking to be broken off a bit there, but Tristana's overstepped, but the Zilean ult comes out. In fact, they were prepared for it. I think they may have tried to bait. Rengar's certainly thinks they tried to bait, but he's now too far on the wrong side of the tower, and Tristana does go out in the end. I don't know if that was a bait or not, but it was not executed very well.
ICawin for ICawin for getting at the count, realizing that.
But Rengar coming in right at the back and making up the Evelyn. This is a crazy game. People are just not taking into account that champions have stealth. It's playing like I do in solo queue.
Yeah, so I think I want to draw everyone's attention to the fact that Extra ThICC's vision this game has been absolutely dreadful. Like, they have not had any vision control throughout the game. ICawin's been basically dominating them throughout. Yeah, so that's why they keep getting picked up by Rengar, just because they can't see him.
Yeah, so the Rengar with certain skills is going to be a problem. I did say in the not as problem as it could have been, because you do have Lux, Vayne, and Janna, which are pretty much the champions you want against Rengar. But Talia's coming to gank the bot lane. We have been talking about how Talia is playing better than the Lux of the roam game. Lux is still out farming. burning the flash of the Gnar there.
And that's Extra Thick's primary engage tool is the flash Gnar ult. Without that, they
have
rely on
their own
bindings
engage tool.
or
Yeah.
Evelyn charm flanks, but
Tristana flash ult. That's what my supports always engage.
yeah.
They're gonna get top turret, so that is the outer ring of turrets gone. And one of the strategies they've been using to do this is to have the Tristana and the Talia in the same lane, and then cut off the enemy from even approaching the turret using the Talia wall. And they've done this twice, and the last time they did it, it backfired. But I mean, maybe they'll just keep trying it. I think we have to look out for that.
They've sent Gnar to defend against the 1v2 in the top lane now. ICawin have so much vision in his top jungle. They have pretty much full vision, and they know exactly that no one is coming to stop them. They're going to freely run around the jungle. They know Lux is coming down, Talia's coming to stop them. This is going to end up in a 3v2 if Extra Thick aren't careful. Although the poke coming onto Tristana is pretty effective. It looks like the back away. Rangar's looking for an ult onto Vayne. This should be an insta-kill. Dan, indeed it is. One onto the bot lane. Vision is not necessary for that one. Pings were coming back, going back, but what can you do?
Well,
They
it
did
was the
have
one
flash
thing
and
you
heal
wanted.
up though.
Yeah, just slow reaction times out of the Vayne.
Well, either slow reaction times or realization that it's useless. At this point, they will win via team fights, and having flash heal to avoid death to Rengar in a team fight is much more useful than avoiding a random death. It was translated into a dragon, but maybe she's thinking of the Baron coming up in a few minutes. She doesn't want to have her summoners down for there. Looks like they're trying to fight for this dragon, though the Lux does manage to steal it with a perfectly executed combo. The Rengar smite was not quite on point there. It was a good steal.
Impossible to beat the Lux combo if she actually times it perfectly. It does more damage than Smite.
Well, yeah, certainly it seemed like it did there. That was a very well timed combo, and I honestly think that they should have prepared for that. When you're against a Lux and there was an Evelyn there as well who she didn't, but she very could have easily just walked in. And we're seeing Gnar jump off the Talia in the mid lane. Not sure if it's going to end up in anything, but Evelyn's coming through the back. Not even I noticed that one. The team certainly didn't. And I actually have vision of them. and this is what you're talking about, the vision game. There's nothing now on ICawin though around the mid lane. Oh, but Zilean manages to catch off. What are you doing, Tristana? Bouncing into the 1v3, has the flash away immediately as the Vayne ult, as the Tristana ults away. Lux E comes out. Luckily, a clutch Zilean ult saving her at the last second there. Revives on half health. Is this fight going to reset? No, Rengar's jumping in, but he was caught a bend. Tristana's caught again in the binding. Meanwhile, Janna flashes over the wall. Rengar's trying to find some kills off on the side. Gnar bounces away. Is it going to get a kill? The charm mark is on. Flash binding comes out from the Lux. Barrel's coming out to finally try to finish off the Chaos Effect. The shield comes out for the Lux and is going to save him from the passive of Gangplank just in time for the Mega to come out in the background. So, Extra ThICc making some good plays in his team fights here. That Lux is causing a lot of problems. Gets one binding onto, gets the E off onto the Tristana. It downs the Tristana with the Zilean ult, and as soon as she spawns, gets killed by the Lux Q and ult.
I think we're really seeing the carelessness in the Tristana here, though. Not respecting how easily it is to be blown up by the enemy team composition. I think that's perhaps one of the most important things for ICawin going into the late game, or the later mid game and going into late game, is making sure their carries don't just die whenever they see an enemy.
Yeah,
because they have no tank to protect them. It's a Zilean ult, yes, but a Zilean ult doesn't fix your bad positioning. It keeps your bad positioning right there. So
exactly. And I always find that a problem with people playing around Zilean is not there to stop you from getting caught out. Zilean is to make you have two lives. If you're getting caught out and using the Zilean ult as a way to getting back revived, you're just wasting a champion at this point.
Yeah, it lets you forgive a really good Evelyn flank or a really deep Gnar dive, but in no way does it save you from yourself, you know.
And getting caught out by Lux bindings at that stage, especially if the first time she dies to the Lux burst, but it wasn't even a binding, so she got caught out. But we are seeing the vision being set up around the top lane ganks, and the Rengar is looking for a target with his ult. They didn't find one, and the wave on mid is not sufficiently pushed in to be able to make that tower dive there. Tali's going in to get the bot one up, and it looks like they're not doing a great job of clearing the vision, as they are spotted by Extra ThICc in the top jungle.
So, I just want to notice that this Lux has built Leandries, so potentially she could have gone Zhonya's. I don't know, I mean, it doesn't feel like there's much health on the side of ICawin.
Although we do remember Leandries with its 15 in magic penetration Lux did that damage to the Tristana because it was all true
Yeah.
damage. Like
This is a glass cannon
very
Lux
small.
at this stage. It is an insane high damage build for the Lux. Not so great at the. I normally see Ludens out there. Better for the farming in that respect, but certainly she's going for a very high damage build. Wants to just get. Clearly, this team comp is based around a Lux being able to pick some people off. That's how it's going at the moment.
I think depending on who became strong, like
We are
in
seeing
the early.
a fight in the bot lane as Taliyah comes down to try and catch off the Gnar, but the Gnar was winning the 1v1 to the gangplank. Gnar is going to probably have to run away now, though. Tristana also jumps into the back, and there's one dead Gnar. Gets a nice ult off to try and escape and ease away, but not quite enough. Meanwhile, there's a fight going on top. The ult comes out onto the stealth Rengar. Rengar does go down, but has a Xehanort on top. Is he going to be respawned? And that is going to be enough, because the Jara ult keeps her alive through the Rengar. I don't know how that fight started on top lane, but it went well for Extra ThICc. We're going to start the Baron.
They can't start that Baron.
Yeah, they certainly can't.
ICawin is going to get the mid turret and potentially bot turret if they rotate afterwards.
I think although a net win for ICawin, that's some severe miscommunication for Rengar to die there, because if he just didn't engage, or if they didn't start that fight, I didn't see.
They got the Eve at the beginning of it.
Yeah, they did get the Eve. I didn't see that they got the Eve on there. I thought Rengar just got caught, so...
No, it was a good play from the Rengar, in fact.
But if you're sending 2 players down to bot lane, like especially with Baron on the other side of the map, now they don't have their jungler. If
It's
that
risky,
went worse for them, then that's throwing Baron away, and they could have gotten Baron here otherwise.
So a very fed Rengar currently. That is the only person with the most amount of gold on the... in fact, Rengar does actually have the most amount of gold in the game by a considerable margin. 1,000 ahead of anyone on Extra ThICc, and 500 ahead of the GP on his own team. So the Rengar is doing a very good job at carrying this game so far. The Duskblade coming up, that is not the off-tank Rengar Milky that you had hoped for to carry them in the late game. That is certainly the damage one. Meanwhile, he's getting caught out by the Baron while trying to clear vision. Ults away, but still in sight. They can't quite catch him down with the Vayne passive. It's not even enough. And they're going to start the Baron.
I think definitely if we see this kind of itemization from Rengar, then we're expecting...
Rengar comes in and dives back in to try and do something to stop this Baron attempt. Does manage to get the Janna, but there's no smite now on the side of ICawin. Gnar coming in and tries to engage, knocks him away, but that does seem to secure the Baron. The Baron is not quite low enough yet, though. The Lux ult's coming out to try and steal the Baron away from themselves. The Lux combo comes in the back, and it's not enough. The Baron eventually goes to ICawin as they are just decimating Extra ThICc around the back there. That was a poorly executed Baron play, but they do get the kill on Ricky with a Xehanort at the end. Tristana flash bounce, just get the auto attack off, and then Evelyn comes in the back. Taliyah's trying to catch him off. It's going to be a counter play at the end there, as there are 3 people flashing and then getting flashed on. Ends out with all of Extra ThICc dying. Taliyah and Gangplank are the only people left alive with the Baron buff.
That's one of the sloppiest Baron takes I've ever seen, like going back and forth over and over, with the Rengar basically suiciding from the very start.
It was a very sloppy Baron take, and it was a sloppy attempt at counter Baron. It was even sloppier take at the Baron though. That was the Gnar jumping in, trying to engage a fight it seemed, but ended up knocking them away. Whether that was an intentional decision or not, it certainly was not helpful, as the rest of the team just sort of whistle, wait and die to Baron because the zone of the Gnar was not effective. They needed to either go for that engage or back off completely.
Yeah, so Gnar was actually tagging Baron.
Gnar comes back on, trying to do something and gets dived on by the Rengar. Rengar's now ulting and trying to hunt them down at the end there, but it seems like they're cottoning onto Rengar's plays here. Rengar hasn't been as effective in the last few minutes, although did manage to get the kill on Janna, even though she was prepared for it.
Yeah.
We're seeing non-stop action from both teams here, really, just trying to scramble and grab whatever advantage they can. I think the significant thing with the Rengar itemization as well that you mentioned was if Rengar building this way, he's really looking to carry the team in this sense, make as many picks as he can non-stop, 100 to 0 as many people as he can.
Yeah, something a bit worrying for ICawin is the fact that Rengar's been quite unsuccessful in his latest attempts.
Yeah, he has.
He barely got Janna. So if the game keeps trending this way, potentially like the next few attempts he won't even manage to get anyone. And we could see a completely ineffective Rengar. If the team starts grouping up and they've got Janna to shield, and maybe we won't even see any more Rengar kills. And that would be scary for ICawin, because if they don't have Rengar killing people at random, I feel like a lot of these team fights would have gone different ways.
Yeah, and that was we're just going to touch on that again. The Baron play there was just the very basics of how you take a Baron as a team. You either all hit the Baron and then one person calls fight and then you all go and take the team fight. You don't have two people half-heartedly trying to zone while everyone else desperately tries to finish off. And then your jungler dies and your Lux support, your Lux mid ults and then flashes away, then QEs to try and finish off the Baron desperately instead of actually killing any of the team that could kill you afterwards. It was just the definition of a bronze Baron.
Yeah, so they should have really had Lux fully zoning with her E.
Yeah,
instead
exactly.
They said the Gnar.
They said Gnar to.
He was tanking
the flash ult. Did he flash ult just ult? But
I think it was something like that. But he was tanking beforehand, and once he left the Baron, they took so much damage.
They took so much damage, and Gnar didn't even achieve anything except for ulting someone in the wrong direction. Didn't. And now that Gnar used the ult, there was no zoning pressure.
Flank coming from Eve right now.
Flank is coming from Eve, but it doesn't look like they're going to get anything off. Loads of walls on the side of Extra ThICc actually, but the flank from Eve is not going to be noticed that easily. They are sending some people out. They don't have Baron anymore, so the siege might be a bit difficult.
Yeah, I think the vision on Extra ThICc side has actually gotten a lot better, at least in these stages of the game. Seems like they're doing a good job of scouting out their jungle.
Oh, they are catching Evelyn there. What the Zillion ult coming up straight out onto herself. There's Evelyn managing to ult away and surviving 1 health, but the burn and the Rengar flash jump from the bush enough to take her out. Don't know why the Zillion flash and ult was used to save her there, but it looks like the counter engagers are attempting by Extra ThICc. The Lux ult coming out, but Zangplank ult doing a huge amount of damage onto Vayne. Lux ult comes out, doesn't really do anything. Not sure what that was for. I would have saved that for the wave claw when you hit a binding.
Yeah, I think I might have forced the Zillion to use his stopwatch, so potentially he was a kill. I mean, killing a Zillion early in a fight is pretty effective. It's pretty useful.
Gnar coming on flash ult, jumping and ulting over the wall, doesn't quite manage to stun up Lily Zillion for long enough, gets the kill by himself though. The team's now chasing onto the Talia, who should be able to get away, although with the cleanse, the Bangpack Barrel's going to slow them. Chaos Effect is still trying to slow with the Gnar, survives a low health, but Vayne flashes, Zhonya's coming out, is that going to be enough? The Barrel's going to be set up in time. Doesn't manage to get the kill. Vayne getting the kill in the end, surviving on very low health. Meanwhile, Lux getting kills on Tristan and Rengar in the background, which I wasn't watching. What's happening there?
We're really seeing ICawin have thrown a lot of their momentum in inefficient play, or the people getting caught out, and that's one of the biggest dangers of this composition, because with the Rengar ultimate and the Talia with the Weaver's Wall, they can make loads of big plays. They can make really strong mid-game rotations. But if they ever screw it up, they don't have a huge amount to fall back on, because their team fight is really lacking, and even their skirmishing.
Yeah, so Zillion shouldn't really have wasted his ult early that fight. It would have been I think it would have been a very different fight if they had a Zillion ult for it, because
yeah.
But the fight was never in the advantage of ICawin anyway. Like being caught over the wall like that.
They killed the Eve straight away, which is like gives them a huge advantage in the fight if they can.
I'm also not a fan of the way this Gnar is being used. Every fight we've seen, the Gnar is jumped and used everything just to try and catch out one person. Typically the Zillion or the support. Maybe they got the Zillion last fight, got the support, but we really want that as a team fight impact to need more than one. Gnar now is being dived on by the Rengar. Again, overstepping and getting just a free kill going out to ICawin here. And Evelyn also being caught out here. What are you doing, Evelyn? The nice barrel combo coming out for the kill, but again, 2 random deaths 50 seconds before the Baron. They are going to be up in time, but what are you doing, Extra ThICc?
Maybe ICawin will go for the inhib. Doesn't look like it. Probably just setting up wards around Baron.
We saw some nice setup though by the Zillion there with the double bomb onto the Gnar, and the slow gave Rengar so much time with the ultimate to come and flank over the wall. And the Weaver's Wall also completely cutting off Evelyn there, although whether she could have escaped with her
Zillion
ultimate
walking directly into the binding, and Lux being sensible, not wasting the combo, just forcing the Zillion ult. Very nice. So Zillion will not have an ult for the next whatever, probably
it's
like
quite
5
short
seconds.
at this
So that's
point,
a short cooldown, yeah.
It's about 30 seconds, so if a Baron fight breaks out, it should...
Zillion is going to recall now. No vision though, unfortunately, so Lux can't just get that cheeky binding off. Oh, recall interrupted.
I think we're really seeing when things go well for Extra ThICc, it's when Lux lands her spells. And
Rengar comes out. It looks like they're trying to get him fight here. Janna's flashing away after they see the Rengar and pinging lots of back pings, but the Rengar only achieved 1 flash out of the Janna, so that gives a free window of time. Evidence now stealthed up, but now they're going to go for the Baron. Looking at the vision here, it doesn't seem either team has a particularly great vision setup, but Extra ThICc certainly has some surroundings, and ICawin doesn't see them doing the Baron, but they've certainly guessed. Binding comes out, and Rengar jumps out of the way, and a Tornado hits the nice people up. We're going to see an extended Baron dance. GP ult not really doing anything. Barrel only hitting the Gnar. Gnar's going to go to Mega Gnar. Now, what we want to see out of Extra ThICc here is for them to bait the Negamar and fight immediately afterwards.
Aggressive Vayne tumble forward.
We've seen Vayne tumble forward, yeah. But it seems like the Baron dance resulted in 0 kills as Gangplank is going back in. There looks like actually Gangplank's running straight through the mid lane, trying to get these these kills back, but Tally's blocked them off with the wall, and is stopping them. Weaver's wall, that's the one, not Yasuo. And Gangplank is going to get that kill after they just get bullied off the Baron and start heading it down mid lane, out rotating them and getting the nice in hit play.
The Weaver's wall was huge here, cutting off most of Extra ThICc from the inhibitor, and meanwhile Lux teleporting behind. They were completely cut off, so they couldn't even try engage a fight over the wall onto ICawin. That was a complete outplay in the macro sense. I mean, sending your Gangplank to run it down for the inhibitor, I haven't seen that rotation, but...
We're also seeing Gangplank attempting to escape the Evelyn down the Baron. Level 17 versus 13, though, is not going to go so well for the Evelyn. Again, what are you doing? Manages to escape over the wall. But that is not something you want to try and do. Level 13 Evelyn.
Missed her charm flash. She just
missed everything.
That's definitely where you back off rather than continuing to try.
But even if you hit the charm flash, with the Gangplank's going to eat oranges.
Yeah, there's a decent amount of burst out of the Eve, but I mean, it would have been even a close fight. But
it would have still been a close fight. That's not taking one. ICawin have taken this opportunity to immediately start in the barrier. And again, do they even have vision? Okay, we do see out of this, but only thanks to the Rift Scuttler. Nowhere near prepared for it, and we just see ICawin take the Baron for free here. Now have a 10k goal lead.
Eve being forced back in that fight with the Gangplank means that they can't contest unless they have the Lux ult, but for some reason Lux was back at the same time, so they didn't really coordinate that.
So...
okay. Assassination attempt onto the Eve.
And Eve does end up going down to the Rengar in the top lane. I missed that for a second there.
That was
so quick out on the top.
Very quick.
That's the 3 air drakes kicking in though. Like they can make these rotations. They can run around the map like it's theirs.
Look at that 11 kill Rengar, Duskblade Yomis and Black Cleaver now. They've picked off the Evelyn. They're going to get some free towers. Gangplank split pushing in the top lane, and they're not going to be able to deal with it. I feel like Extra ThICc are going to have to engage a team fight fairly soon. Weaver's wall comes out again, stopping the Vayne, but she does have flash up this time. Is she going to use it? Ults and wave. Eventually has to use the flash though. We're going to go back into the top lane where Gnar is struggling to 1v1 the Gangplank on the top here. Both taken down to about 50%, but Gangplank is pushed off the inhibitor, at least temporarily. Vayne again trying to go a bit aggressive, queuing back. Again, whoa, we're walking way too far in front of them. How does she still on full health? All the abilities out of ICawin seem to miss her. The Jarnart heals her back up. That was a free kill onto Vayne, which ICawin really missed there. Lux ult coming out randomly from max range. Vayne manages to push the Rengar as the dives on, but the base is still getting destroyed slowly but surely. The Baron buff and the Death Ram Evelyn's coming out. There's now a 5 versus 5 in the base, but all 3 inhibitors have now gone down. Are ICawin just going to back off?
Well, they can probably just back off, come straight back. You know, they've got Wind Drakes, they can come back really fast, so they're not going to give Extra ThICc any time to breathe, taking out the space.
This is a very strange sequence of events out of Extra ThICc. They were defending the base, and the Vayne was walked forward and tanked everything, and yet somehow took no damage. Walked over slows from Talia, autoed by the Tristana. I don't know if this got unlucky with the crits, or if Talia managed to miss everything, or the Gangplank was obviously top. But Vayne should have died straight away. That should have been the end of the game.
I think we have to raise a lot of eyebrows at this this Vayne. So many resources poured into her as well. 360 farm now. Like if that's who you're putting all your, if that's the basket you're putting all your eggs in, you're gonna hope that maybe they're gonna have a bit more impact then. And wasting their flash and almost getting blown up for no reason.
Getting caught by Talia, walking into a bunch of abilities and flash over Talia very, very late. Meanwhile, is that Vayne attempting to flash now? Okay, apparently the flank does work as he's managed to burst out the inner straight away, but no flash is going a bit far forward. He's going to be caught by the Talia, instantly death. I wouldn't have traded the Vayne for the Zillion if I were you. That's not a great one. Playing Vayne as I play Zed there. Now, not what you want to do. Talia's wall coming through, and it looks like going to bully through and kill the base here.
If anyone's
One
playing
tower's
base
coming down.
spotting at home, then you've got
Anyone's playing spotting at home,
I think it's 25 points.
hiding in a bush and attempting to catch out the entire enemy team.
And a clean finish from ICawin.
A clean finish from ICawin despite a
messy, a very messy mid game.
Yeah. So ICawin pulls out the first win.
So Car Tire on the Vayne there, pulling out a impressive display of attempting to engage the team fight as the Vayne, which a valiant effort was made, and you could argue that is only because the Gnar was doing a so poor job of it himself that Vayne decided to take up the engaging for her own.
I mean, you got to play with your tank. You got to play with your engaged or your initiator. If you're not using your Gnar correctly, that's a whole team issue. You're not communicating well as a team. But I think we saw that edge that ICawin had over Extra ThICc a lot of the time. Just stronger macro play, stronger team play.
We did see a lot of players. The appalling Baron attempt coming out of Extra ThICc there. The Gnar managing every time to play. Gnar was sort of playing as his champion like you'd expect maybe a Thresh or something to play, of just going all in for that one pick, forgetting of course that he is the tank. He needs to be with his team, providing team fight presence and ulting 2 or 3 people, not just jumping over all and trying to chase one person down. That's not how you want to be playing the Gnar, and it's part of the reason why when they're stuck at their own base, they couldn't do anything. Gnar's wasting his ult, not doing anything, forcing the Vayne to try and make plays.
Yeah. Looking at the damage graph, it's clear that ThICc put in the most work in this game. I think it was really a standout performance from the ThICc. Although she died, 5 times, I think her walls were incredibly crucial to like pretty much all of the plays they made in this game. There was the awesome inhibitor mid, the play bot, and I think they had some other awesome wall plays.
Absolutely, the Weaver walls were massive here, but not to discount the Rengar, who, I mean, his damage itself is impressive for what should be an assassin. And the plays he made through the early, mid, and late game. I mean, we saw a little dip in the mid game, but he was constantly applying so much pressure, always able to get random pickoffs on the side of Extra ThICc, and when their team revolves around a few squishy members, it's really devastating to lose one of these to Rengar, because your whole team fight breaks down. Your whole fight.
We are seeing the team comp, which had no right to win that game, ending up putting out quite a clean victory after a bit of chaos. But that I don't put down that to the team comp, other than Extra ThICc not really knowing how to play this game.
Yeah.
I think that's
it for game 1. Yeah.
So we'll be taking a short break before the next game. Don't go anywhere. It will follow shortly.
Good stuff.
And welcome back, guys. We are into game 2 of the MMOCircles Cambridge versus ICL League of Legends game. League of Legends tournament, unfortunately, again. 2 ICL teams in today. We're on to game 2. The first game has gone to ICawin. We're going to see... We had a very strange game we just saw, where both teams was basically making so many mistakes that ended up just happened that extra thick stuff were on the losing end of that.
I mean, to give ICawin a bit more credit, they made a lot of more proactive plays. I
They
think
did.
overall a lot
Yeah.
less mistakes. Well, I mean, they still made a lot, but a lot less than Extra Thick made.
I think I was more pleased with the coordination and the team play from ICawin. Like it doesn't just look like, or at least to us, it doesn't look like Talia's are just ulting randomly or Gangplank's ulting randomly.
That's true. The
they're
Talia
nicely
was
coordinated.
very nice, wasn't it? With the great amount of great ults to separate off an already uncohesive extra thick team, and the Talia Wars had just resulted in a bunch of confusion. We saw near the end of Vayne there, the wall coming through and walking forward and going backwards and forwards, going, "Shall I flash? Shall I not flash?"
Yeah. So, what do we expect to see coming out in picks and bans for the next game?
I'm not sure. I definitely think that the extra thick are going to go a lot more engaged. I have seen some of them complaining they didn't have enough engage. That was clearly the issue last game. Vayne was clearly struggling with with Vayne as a champion that wants to make plays, but when there's no team fights happening, she's not one that could just sit back and wave clear. So she was instead trying to pick people off, and that wasn't going so well. Na was just getting the single play. So the Lux was great at picking people off, but we really need a more reliable forward engage. I'm expecting more of a Sejuani out of that. Straight away the Rengar ban.
He is very. I'm not surprised to see the Rengar ban. I wouldn't be surprised to see a Talia ban either, because really they had no answer to the Talia.
Now, if I was... the Gangplank ban's an interesting one. If I was ICawin now, I'd actually ban the Sejuani just to stop extra thick from taking it up, because that is one of the engage heavy champs which you do not want them... You don't want them side to play now.
Yeah, they also probably have to ban Varus. Because that is the top tier, the premier AD carry right now. I think you have to choose for Xayah. I mean, Kartai has actually been practicing Xayah a crap ton. It's his main champion right now. So that makes sense. But it will mean that Extra Thick can pick up the Varus for free, basically, if they want to.
We're seeing an interesting Aatrox ban. Not sure if
potentially BM.
ICawin actually have any... Yeah, BM after you just lost a game like that is not what you want. And again, the Tristana
taking Tristana instead of Varus.
Tristana,
yes.
I'm fine with this. Tristana is a good pick, especially if your AD carry wants to do some hyper carrying.
Yeah, but at the same time, Varus is a pretty effective late game carry.
I think picking both is sensible, but for the team who
apparently, we've heard word that the Aatrox ban is actually a Varus ban.
Aatrox is a Varus ban.
You can't do proxy ban.
Proxy ban?
This isn't a thing. They probably misclicked. Yeah, okay. Well,
maybe you misclicked on Aatrox and Varus because they are so close to each other in the alphabet.
Maybe their client wraps around, who knows? But we're seeing an Aatrox, a Varus ban here instead, and then they take the Tristana, which is the same setup that ICawin did in the first game. Well, it's strange because for the team that was complaining they didn't have any real engage, why don't they ban Tristana and take Varus? Like, they want the engage. And we're
seeing now we're talking about engaged. Jarvan Alistair, what a engaging comp. Now this is when you don't want the Varus. Oh, Alistair's Alawi. Okay, so it's not Jarvan Alistair, it's Jarvan Alawi. But even so, that's still quite a lot of engage. And the Warwick. Okay, that's what we wanted.
Is that Warwick though? We don't know. We have proxy picks here.
We do have proxy picks, but I'm just going to assume it's the correct champion until someone tells me otherwise.
Yeah.
Warwick is a heavy engage. That is. I hope it's not a proxy pick because. It's a champion I would want.
Is a champion that Chaos Effect loves to play. So, I mean, if they're picking engage on the Warwick, they don't need to take it in the top lane. So he's free to pick.
Sorry, this is absolutely more of a comfort pick, surely, rather than composition. Because if you're taking Warwick in the jungle, you're taking Vladimir top, then your CC sources. I mean, you're leaving it to your support. Then you're not. You don't have a strong.
Leaving it to your support's not necessarily a bad idea. Supports have great impact at the moment, and we're having Braum, Tahm-Kench, Thresh, all open.
It makes me wonder who we'll see. I mean, maybe they'll actually want Alistair or Khan or I'd want to see a strong engager from Extra Thick because rather than them conceding in these small areas and not ever engaging or getting anything really done, I want to see them step it up, take an aggressive comp. They've got the Warwick.
There's the Taliban that we're kind of expecting out of these mid laners, and from Extra Thick, we are wanting them now to take some CC mid laner. A Lux again wouldn't be so bad, but I'm hoping for something more like an Orianna.
They might ban the Lux actually. I mean, they banned the Veigar.
We know Veigar to be a particular.
So Christian Boy loves mage pick. So Lux, Veigar, Xerath are his top 3, I believe.
Interesting to leave the Lux open though, when the Lux was perhaps the most impactful member on Extra Thick's team.
That is very true, but maybe they were just thinking, well, at least Ahri ban. Ahri sucks, so I don't know why you're banning her. Ban Ahri last time. Okay, so Ahri still sucks. Doesn't matter how good the other person is on it. Mind you, Ahri doesn't suck so much as being, Erin is Orianna. Okay, so that was Erensol's Orianna. That is the champion I wanted Extra Thick to be picking. So it does look like they're going to go stick with the Lux.
And then save the Lux.
It's a nice. So they did. Back to the CCs up at Gavola. They do have quite a bit of CC now.
So we see Braum here, who is obviously his ultimate as more of a form of counter engage. So they're still going with a sort of pick revolving comp with Lux and Warwick. I mean, Warwick does a similar thing to what Evelyn does, right? Except he's just quite a bit more tanky. So Extra Thick going for a similar kind of composition, whereas ICawin with the Ori Jarvan is really strong on the engage. This is a death ball in a way. I mean, the Alawi is a bit of a wrench, but
ICawin certainly choosing the death ball team comp. However, Extra Thick, their team comp is quite similar to last game, but it doesn't need to be that much different. The team comp last game was fine, with the exception of maybe the Evelyn was a kind of useless. The Gnar, the engage was too unreliable. So they've swapped out those things. They swapped out the Evelyn for a very strong, very strong reliability engage, even if it's not the strongest champion with the Warwick. And they've kept some AP damage at the top with a Vladimir. I get the feeling that Chaos Fate doesn't really like playing Gnar. He kept trying to get in skirmishes with the Gangplank and was not doing very well in them. With a Vladimir, he might be more of a fighter here.
And I think if we can see the Gangplank is even or even getting ahead of the Gnar just in the flat out 1v1, then you're not doing your job properly as Gnar. You're not shutting down the Gangplank as you should do. So I'm not surprised to see the pick has sort of been abandoned from the side of.
Yeah. Although it is still strange. I would expect still more engage out of Extra Thick. Warwick.
So they've got the Braum for follow-up engage. Often you'll use Braum just to.
I mean, there's no mega one though. I'm surprised the Sejuani went through pick ban.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised that Braum got through pick bans as far as it did. Often I see that like first rotation. People consider it quite top tier. But I mean, I think the fact that Extra Thick are picking up makes a lot of sense because their support died a lot of times that last game, so he probably doesn't want to, tilt too hard and get caught off, keep dying. So
we do have to question the pick order as well because they took Alawi. ICawin took Alawi on their first double pick, and do you need to take Alawi? Are you worried about it being banned out, or are you trying to hide more picks? Because taking the Braum would have been absolutely sensible with such a power pick. There's no reason to hide it unless they want to bait out for the counter pick of the Karma here.
Yeah, so it's a counter pick in lane. I mean, you're gonna have an easy time against a Braum as a Karma, but at the same time, it's not really gonna. It doesn't have the same impact in the late game, I would say. Well, I mean, sort of it does in terms of buffing the AD carry, but doesn't provide for the front line. You could argue that ICawin already has a beefy enough front line, and don't need to add anything more to that. In which case, I think this comp makes a lot more sense. I think both comps make a lot more sense than last game.
Yeah, we'll see more standard comps. Although
more standard comps.
I do have to still question ICawin because with the Jarvan Ori and in a sense Alawi, it's really strong mid game and mid game skirmish. It's like to not take Varus with this for the really easy. Oh, sorry, it's banned.
Yeah, Varus is banned.
Yeah, sorry.
Obviously, it would have been picked if it was not banned, but
even still to take Jinx as this kind of late game hyper carry, it works with Orianna, I guess, if they want this late game. But it's a mix of strong mid game and strong late game. Not really sure what they're going for, but they demonstrated they know how to take a mid game. They know how to like win a mid game. So
Well,
it's
they've
you'd expect them to
demonstrated
double down on it.
they've demonstrated they can win a mid game when the enemy team gives up a Baron by.
Very true, very true.
So I'm not sure we can hold up too much about either team's abilities just yet. Hopefully we'll see. And maybe we'll see ICawin winning with the stupid team comp they played last game, and now losing with the more standard one. Then in the third game, going back to the stupid one and winning again. That seems to be the way these things go.
Yeah, I mean, at the same time, like ThICc did have quite a flawed team composition last game, in the fact that they totally lacked any sort of engage, apart from the Nars and unreliable engage. But this game, it seems like they've smoothed out, like both teams have smoothed out their engage angle. They've both got like clear ways of engaging, but they've also, they've got a lot of wave clear. They've got late game team fighting and a decent amount of laning. So I think both team comps are very, very, very standard, almost too standard. Maybe they're not even used to playing these styles of compositions. But,
I definitely think that there were too many. We're seeing it. It's a lot better this set around, but there were too many clashes, like having in the extra thick competition before having such a short range, like Vayne carry, and then a team that doesn't really back her up correctly. Like you really wanted us to run. But this is looking a lot better. We're providing a front line for the immobile AD and AP carries, Orianna, Jinx, and Tristana Lux. They now have front lines that can sit there bruising each other up while firing in, and it's going to be hopefully will be a more sensible game or a more standard game. We'll see more uniform play, less scrappy messes in the jungles with random Evelynn and Rengar picks.
Yeah. So I think if one question we have to ask ourselves is if this game does go super late, like who does win? Because I think there's arguments to be made for both sides.
Hyper carries of Vladimir and Tristana versus the Jinx hyper carry and arguably very strong carry of Orianna, whereas I believe Alawi's falling off at that point, Javan's falling off at that point.
Yeah.
Also, it's difficult to say.
Potentially, I don't know. I'd say some people argue that Jinx is the strongest hyper carry in the late game, just because of the scaling on her Q.
And yeah, the bounce
and the passive.
In terms of raw stats and raw teamfight power, yes, but in terms of playing Jinx into that enemy composition, making sure you don't get one shot by the 4 champions on that team who can one shot you at any point, late into the game.
She has got 2 shielding champions to protect her.
She indeed will. Yeah, if Orianna's playing defensively and she's got the Karma, it shouldn't be too bad. I think what will make the biggest difference is which team is playing most cohesively, which team is protecting their carries best, which is providing the best front line, because it doesn't matter stat wise or ability wise how strong each champion is if you're just letting your AD carry get picked off or you're split up.
Yeah, so yeah, and interesting choice. The support for ICawin has opted to take Exhaust again, and this is like despite going against a Vlad. Really would have been nice to see the Ignite coming out here. Really, they've got no pressure in terms of they've got a bit of kill pressure from the Tristana Braum, but not something that the Exhaust is gonna really shut down. Whereas having an Ignite against a Vlad is just such an easy way of countering him in like an early team fight, early mid, or even late game.
And the Warwick as well. And if you're trying to coordinate Jarvan or Orianna dives, you're generally better off with the more aggressive summoner.
Yeah.
To nip off people trying to flash away.
It's weird because Ricky P played quite aggressively last game. He was not afraid to go up close and bomb people. In fact, he was involved in a lot of the kills for.
I agree here. Yeah, the a lot of clashing choices. Not taking Ignite when he seems to like this airy style, this very aggressive, always trying to double bomb and slow people, as you say, to set up picks all the time, even if it's over aggressive. But to settle for the Exhaust is strange, especially when the Tristana and Lux are quite long range carries. Like, you're not going to be dropping on them, and you're not really looking to exhaust a Warwick or a Vlad when they come into you. You know, you're looking to CC them away. So
Yeah.
The Ignite would make more sense just so you can, like hammer down on the Vlad, make sure he dies. But maybe we'll see an early-ish Execution's Calling come out from Jinx. I mean, we'll probably see a Morello Nomicon from Orianna too. So maybe they're just not that worried about the healing. But Vlad and Warwick are very strong, like drain tanks almost. Like maybe Vlad less so, but the healing is not. You can't ignore it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So how are these lanes gonna go? Do you reckon?
Well, we're seeing like farming matchup in mid lane, although Orianna obviously has the advantage as you should do against Lux anyway. And then again, a farming matchup on bot lane, although Karma Jinx should be a lot stronger at poking out top lane equally. I again, as last game, I'm putting it down to not much is going to happen in lanes. It's up to the junglers to really decide what's going to happen. And we saw Fuafu and Neko on Rengar was just outplaying extra thick the whole game, and I think it's up to the junglers to decide how these lanes go, where they want to build an advantage.
Yeah, there's not really any obvious advantages. I would say that the bot lane, they've got a lot more gank assist in the on the extra thick side with the Braum versus, I mean, a Karma. I guess she can snare you, but it's not. Actually, I mean, it's decent, but it's not quite the same as the Tristana Braum jumping onto you and really giving all that CC. And similarly in the mid lane, like Orianna's gonna have a harder time assisting in the ganks pre-6, whereas Lux brings her own CC to the lane. So I think Warwick, I mean, should have a easy time ganking some of these lanes, like especially this Jinx. I mean, he really has to shut down.
If the Warwick, as you say, in mid lane, if Warwick lands a suppression on Orianna and Lux is in range of QER, and she should just die before like she would even have time to cleanse the binding once the suppression rules wears off. There's no time. We should, if we don't see T Roland like and Fuafu and Neko like establishing good vision on this Warwick, then he could absolutely land deadly ganks on either Orianna or the Jinx or Karma on bot lane. Both of them are very vulnerable targets.
We also see that Orianna's opted to take Riot's advice and take Cleanse against the suppression, which is
right support.
Doesn't quite work like that. I mean, there are other CCs that you can block with that, such as the Fear and the Lux Snare, but let's hope he doesn't waste it on a suppression. Yeah, Bromstone as well, yeah.
I think it's a sensible summoner, especially if you're the way T Roland seems to be playing.
Level 2 obtained on bot lane, going in straight on. Are they going to get the concussion blows off? Not quite in time. Extra Thick really trying hard at that early level 2. They were so on point with diving in straight away. The second they got level 2, leveled up that W and jumped on, but it wasn't enough to really get any advantage.
Yeah, seems like ICawin's like early laning phase needs a lot of work. They've been getting behind these lanes, like losing the push and the pressure. Last game they were down quite a bit before things started turning for them from like jungle assistance.
Now they're having some nice trades on top lane from the Vladimir. Winning out this lane against the Illaoi in the early stages has taken the Dark Seal as a starting item, so confident there.
I'm interested to see the contrast between this Vladimir and the Illaoi. Both clearly more comfort picks as opposed to tailoring to some specific team comps. I want to see what they do on their more signature champions, as it were.
I mean, I would say Illaoi with the Jarvan. I mean, Illaoi, Jarvan, Orianna. They're going for a bit of a wombo combo.
But Illaoi really suffers trying to get into a fight. Like, she's great if people engage on her. That's her ideal fight. But in terms of playing up, she has to walk at them menacingly. Like, doesn't do a whole lot.
Yeah, she's got teleport though. So I mean, it depends how familiar this guy is with like teleport flanks. But they have a lot of
around
CC
Baron or
set up from the Jarvan. So it's not going to be too hard for them to set up some pick onto this immobile Lux.
Actually, we are seeing a. Okay, we've got the spellbook onto Vladimir who started Ignite. I was just about to say he doesn't have TP, but spellbook should be fine.
Yeah. Yeah, so
I would absolutely expect this is more of a comfort pick, because if you were picking for something to complement Jarvan Orianna, just like picking a heavy tank like Maokai,
Could have gone Nara again,
Malphite,
actually.
or just Ngar, yeah. But
I mean, Narvan is a strong combo, and they've already got engaged, so the Nara follow-up is a lot easier than the unreliable.
it'd be devastating, really, yeah. With the stun and a Ngar and a.
Not quite sure on the top lane matchup of Nara versus Vlad. I imagine Nara would have a fine time in that, but
I think they're both strong bullies, so whoever can bully harder, I guess. Whoever plays it better.
Yeah. We are seeing a very even top lane at the moment. Mid lane going slightly in favour of the Aura, as you'd expect. T-Roland is now out of mana though.
Which is good to see, because T-Roland fell behind, particularly CS-wise, compared to the Lux last game.
Oh, Lux getting a bit greedy, going aggressive, but does manage to spot out Jarvan in the ward just before Jarvan gets there. So that was a nice trade put onto the Orianna, who's now low health and mana. So
yeah,
Lux is actually going to start taking advantage.
She's only up the CS because she's been spamming her mana quite so much, and as soon as she backs, Lux is going to get probably even or ahead in CS. Also, Lux still has teleport, so Lux can stick around, get the CS, and then get back to the lane faster than Orianna can. So I imagine the CS should equalize it a little bit.
Now Lux is playing very far up in that lane now. She has no intention of backing. And yeah, you're right, the Lux CS is going to get increasingly advantage, not just because Orianna had to back now, but also that Lux can just put, now level 6, can ult, recall, TP back, and it's going to start. You know, she's already caught up with the Orianna, who was a few CS ahead. Warwick's coming on the top though. Alawi's just got level 6, this might be doing a dangerous gank. The stopwatch coming out very, very late. Warwick's not even 6, and now the ult comes out, but Alawi is out of mana. It's not going to be able to do anything to escape that gank. Warwick just walked into the top lane there. A lot of missing pings coming out of Extra Thick. I'm not sure why. Maybe Warwick really wanted that kill, but...
yeah. I mean, the stopwatch to stop the Vlad ult sort of makes sense, but he really immobilized himself and...
He immobilized himself. You know, the only way you escape that is by flashing it as soon as you see it there, because he didn't have the ult.
I think he failed to acknowledge his lack of mana as well, because he can't make that turn if he can't make a full rotation. Or
well, he doesn't really have to make a turn. Like, Warwick has no ult at this stage of the game, so potentially they'd have no CC to cut him down.
The flash away was the correct escape from that.
But both were, both have.
Karma's going in, got the binding off. Oren's coming out. He does have the ult up. Manages to flash ult on herself, hits the Braum. Concussive goes in and coming back. They're not quite going to manage to turn it. Nothing really gets burnt though on the side of ICawin. All summoners on bot lane are now out.
Oh, they used the Orianna flash.
Oh, sorry, yes, Orianna flash, but that was it. No, nothing on the bot lane. Still heal flash on the Karma and Jinx, but nothing up for the bot lane. So that should be a free gank next time for the Jarvan, who can just go straight in with the ult. Do still have the Triss W.
Definitely a good flash from Tristana, but even if the shockwave connected, I think Tristana would flash out afterwards anyway. So I think.
Oh, Jarvan managing to dodge the binding in the mid lane there with the ult. Very nice attempt at the gank there, but Lux just flashing straight out. So we're going to look at the summoners. Flashes down on the entire mid-bot half of the map. Oh, bot lane trade going out. Ricky P on the Karma does dodge his concussive blows, lands onto the Jinx. Heal comes out for the Tristana and the Jinx. Sorry, for the Jinx, and then Karma does manage to get the final kill onto the Braum as my camera pans away there. Didn't see what happened, but Karma, I'm guessing, just picked off the Braum at the back with one of her annoying explosion things.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think there was really any reason to die there from the Braum. I mean, I guess he used his flash earlier, but he was playing very far up for someone that can just get locked down by the Karma snare.
I think the summoner disadvantage made a huge difference there, though. There was nothing from Extra Thick.
Not only because you're in the 2v2, but because of the jungler may have ganked you after, so you're pushing that far up, engaging, playing very aggressive, or any summoners at all. That's risky. I'm
feeling Extra Thick are impatient, particularly the bot lane, to just gain a lead, really show their worth, and especially with a quite strong scaling comp, I think that could be the death of them if they continue with these over-aggressive plays.
Well, we're going to look at top lane though. Tower Life coming out. Chaos Effector's trying to take down this Gnar, who has a magic shield because he bought the Hex Drink already. Oh, not quite enough, and the Alawi is going to be hitting away at Chaos Effector with the tentacles.
The kill, but not quite.
The Hex Drinker, I think, probably took the Vladimir by surprise here. Not quite used to seeing that as this early start from the Alawi. Certainly didn't take into account it from the tower dive and doesn't really manage to achieve anything. The Ignite is burnt. And it seems to be a fairly even trade coming in here, but Chaos Effect has now hit all the way, getting taken very low. One more tentacle to be able to do it. Cookies not got quite enough to finish him off though. Again, no flashes burnt. Chaos Effect on the Vladimir should be able to sustain up, unless he gets sniped with one of those tentacles in the back line, which would be great.
He's definitely not respecting Alawi here. Once she lands the spirit, you either you go ham or you back off, but he kind of did something in the middle where he just took more damage. Definitely not appreciating how much damage Alawi can actually pump out.
Saw Jarvan come on top through the ward there, and is playing really far back onto tower, but Jarvan could easily have been coming around. Doesn't have a ward there, but that is not a great position to be in. Very low health versus the Alawi. Not suffering anymore. Should be able to sustain his way back up. Doesn't have a TP yet.
So interestingly, the Lux hasn't really been able to build anything like a lead in the mid lane. Even though Orianna roamed bot and the Lux had the teleport advantage.
Well, so the Lux flash was burnt by the Jarvan gank, which led to her playing pretty safe, because you don't want to be a flasher's Lux against a Jarvan in the mid lane. That is 100% death.
We do see a bit of damage on the mid lane turret for on Orianna's turret, but yeah, not nearly as much as you'd hope, especially from, I guess, the as we keep saying, the stronger players or mechanically.
Yeah, so not much action in bot lane.
Jarvan's ganked onto the Warwick here. Shockwaves manages to miss, but Warwick manages to get back onto the Orianna, who used stopwatch. Warwick's taken down right at the end. Meanwhile, there's a fight on bot lane as Tristana and Jinx go at it. The Brawl Melt comes out, nothing really happening there. But in the result with Warwick, it's been the first death on the result of, or the second death on the result of Extra ThICc, going in for an overly aggressive fight over the wall.
It's almost
what's he turned with the ult.
Almost a really good turn, but yeah, unfortunately the Lux W not connecting because they didn't. I think he didn't quite expect the Warwick ult turn. And I mean, you see one of the biggest issues with Lux is that even when Orianna stopwatches, pausing for nearly 3 seconds.
Vlad on the top, coming again onto the town after the cookie. This time he definitely should have remembered that he had the Hex Drink. Ignite not quite enough in the heal at the end to take him out. Chaos Effect's getting very greedy here. Manages to flash the tentacle. What a kill! Flashes the tentacle right at the end to snipe him off there. At the back on low health. Ilawi's feeling very confident he can survive there. Meanwhile, on the bot lane fight coming out, concussive blows from Kartai managed to land onto the Jinx, getting him very low. Jinx laser comes out, the jump comes on, flashing away, and the exhaust comes back out. Even the Brawn's trying, the Brawn with the flash ignite, concussive blows again, not going to be popped, and Jinx is too far away, and that is again both summoners burnt out of the Brawn. But this time, at least they managed to get them onto the Jinx, and they should force Jinx to back now. This should translate into something, but Jarvan's coming for the back. Jinx ult comes in. Jarvan's out of mana. He can't ult. Orianna Shockwave is not yet available either, so they're going to have the stand behind me taking Braum to safety. And that was a good setup by Extra ThICc, but not quite enough to get any kills, and it's looked like just due to the counterplay of the movement of the mid lane, they're going to translate it into a dragon. But again, Jarvan's still got no mana, Warwick's got full mana, Orianna Shockwave is back up now though, and Warwick's going to have a hard time contesting this one. Shockwave does come out and should be able to take him off pretty quickly, although he does manage to ult away the binding from Lux, hitting 2 people, the Lux ult coming out, managing to finish off Jarvan. Again, this was overly aggressive by ICawin as they had no mana, they took some damage from the bot. Jinx was not available there. Now Binding's coming out and Orianna has to flash away. And certainly an overly aggressive move out of ICawin, thinking they had the better team coordination, but they were down on the mana, down on the champions. And now they will get the dragon.
So did we miss Jinx dying in the bot lane?
Did Jinx die, or was she just low and recall? They didn't see. But in the meantime, they're going to have a tower dive onto the Karma. This is a very greedy play by the Karma. Shouldn't be under the tower there. And you say, yeah, Jinx died. Yeah, I think we missed that. I think Jinx was very low health. She must have just stayed around in a similar manner to the Karma just did.
Might have gotten solo killed by the Tristana.
Yeah.
Has 2 kills.
Certainly some greed coming out of ICawin there. The Jinx are standing around and far too low. The Dragon was started when the Jarvan had no mana. And they were in full vision. And now we're going to see some more greed as Jinx runs to try and defend the tower 1v2, and the tower's really low health. She is going to go down, surely, to the Tristana here, which she does. So Kartai is picking up a great kill on there. Now they're picking up a bunch of free kills. This is getting pretty bad for the bot lane of ICawin as Kartai 3-0 on the Tristana.
Definitely a massive disrespect to both both bot laners here now individually walking up to the bot lane of Extra Thick and just dying, like, and as if it's not the most expected play when you're alone and a squishy target.
That was certainly Tristana's just picked 3 kills, and all 3 of them were completely unnecessary. You have the Jinx standing at the tower on 1 health, getting just solo killed. We assume we didn't actually see it by the Tristana. Then the Karma running back in, trying to defend the tower 1v3 and dying, and then the Jinx doing exactly the same thing again. That's just 3 free kills. That's enough to. That's a game-changing 3 kills for a Tristana potentially.
And Tristana's hit such a strong power spike here now as well. The static shift, BF holding Berserker's Greaves, whereas against Jinx's Infinity Edge, she has no attack speed and no push power. It's looking really rough for the side of ICawin. And the Orianna hasn't even completed the Morella Nomicon, whereas Lux is sitting on hers. So much momentum for Extra Thick to just keep taking what they want, and they're not seeing strength in Alawi, nor Jinx, nor Orianna. Nowhere. We're also seeing 40 CS up Tristana against Jinx, and it's just contributing more to this item advantage. And it's kind of a no contest. Like if they just click each other and stand there for ages, you know, Jinx wouldn't even get kill if Tristana does nothing for 5 seconds.
We're looking to see whether Brom's going to tower dive the Alawi in the top lane here. Looks like he wants to go for it, but he's decided against it. As although Alawi had no vision, just not confident enough against the Alawi's ult. The turning power is pretty strong on there. Meanwhile, there's a 3 versus 1 on the bot lane for ICawin. Vladimir's going to be left to defend that tower. It does look like Extra Thick will get the first tower there with the Tristan. You can't really do much against it. Karma's going to clear some wards out. Still has this one on the bush there. And they have 0 damage on the tower so far, and they've been hanging around his bot lane for a while. This is not a great idea. There are still 3 bot, and actually Jarvan's recalling now. He's been okay. He's going on back on the air. They should really realize that they're going to be collapsed on. Although they have cleared the wards out, Lux is coming down, and now the ult comes out, misses the bindings. Gunblade does come out though, as Vladimir manages to go onto Jinx. I missed that one as well. He just flashes an insta kill, so that was a really surprising death. And now they're trying to get away. The spells coming, the Lux left and right manages to miss both of them, but again the Jarvan is trying to dive onto the binding comes out, the ult comes out, finishes off the Jarvan. Orianna's trying to run away. Karma flashes away from the Vladimir, and Vladimir is being really, really powerful here. Warwick's coming from the backline. That is 1 dead Karma. Sorry, Ricky. Chaos Effect manages to pull, but still takes the damage from the command attack out of Orianna. But Warwick flashes the wall. Ults. Does he manage to get the Orianna? Doesn't have anything to escape with except for the cleanse, which he did not use on the ult. We'll be pleased to know. Looking at the right support advice there. Yeah, now we have Alawi getting tower dived on the mid lane, getting the ult up. Is he going to be able to turn us around to get any kill? That the concussive blows will be a problem. Lux coming through the back line and ulting, and now it's 11-2 with a 7k gold lead over to Extra Thick. It's looking pretty good for them so far.
Every time Lux lands
falling apart for ICawin, they're just getting individually outplayed pretty much across the map. And they're not holding on to their turrets. So.
Yeah, so we did see this then. The shockwave was not available on the bot lane. So they couldn't really do anything.
And then while Orianna being jumped earlier, she had to use the shockwave, so she just didn't have it for the turn there. But even so, by the time Orianna got there, Jinx had already been blown up. Just again, completely disrespecting what a Vladimir can do with such a lead. And it's kind of the difference in showing how well people know their champions is remarkable here. Like the Jinx almost running around like free food here.
Yeah, so how does ICawin come back from this?
It's looking very bad for them at this stage, because we already talked about how they're going to win the late game. How Extra Thick are going to win the late game even if they go even. They're certainly not even at the moment.
Hey, the gold lead is too large. I think if ICawin want to bring this back, they need to try something. They need to try something aggressive with Jarvan or Orianna. I think it's something which you need to understand. If you're picking this duo, you need to use it. You need to secure some vision. Like
face checking the Warwick and Vladimir and going to suffer an unfortunate death there. Way too far out, no vision. Walk straight into the face of an angry wolf here. But it does look like they might try a play now on the bot lane with Orianna coming out with shockwave they're available. Carter manages to avoid it, but doesn't quite avoid the shockwave at the end there. But she's just too fed and turns on and kills the Karma. Eventually manages to die. to the Orianna with the auto attacks and cutter blows comes out. The cleanse, interesting choice to use the cleanse there, but surely this is a death for the Braum here. There is no plan available for the ball. But it looks like they're very scared of the Warwick coming on the back line, so actually only 1-for-1. Meanwhile, Jarvan on top, diving Chaos Effect, who's probably going to be able to heal his way out of this one. Warwick in the bot lane, coming to clean up, killing the Jinx on the backside there. Chaos Effect again, definitely healing up the Zhonya's.
It's actually the stopwatch completely saving him there. We got a great cataclysm from Jarvan, trapping in Vladimir when he had no way to avoid turret aggro, if not for the stopwatch.
And it's looking like a clean victory so far for Extra Thick. If I was ICawin, I at this point would wait for them to do Baron and then try and win.
I mean, if you're Extra Thick at this point, there's no reason to go Baron. They have an immense pressure of taking these
There's
turrets.
never a reason to do Baron at this stage in the game.
Yeah.
But they might try it, you never know.
They're pushing top, they've almost got bot. Like,
Again,
literally, anywhere they go, they're taking turrets.
And Extra Thick will be very disappointed if they manage to throw this game away now.
I think this is certainly Extra Thick's game to lose, as opposed to ICawin's.
We are seeing across the board the CS, except for the bot lane, being quite even between the two, but then we're going to look at the goal totals. And Tristana's 9,500 compared to Jinx 6,300.
He might be in the mid lane there, yeah.
That is a large, difference. Bot lane is huge. And across the board, 2K on the top lane, 1K on the mid lane. We are going to see a tower dive onto the Orianna. Tries to counter Shockwave, which Kartai just sits happily in tanks and not enough damage to kill him. Meanwhile, 3 auto attacks is enough. Binding comes out to the Jinx, walks straight into it. Should be the kill. Not quite enough though. Jarvan comes in from the back line. I'm going to actually get some kills onto the Alawi with the Cataclysm coming through there. Missing the flag and dragging off the walk. This is just some desperation cleanup plays. We're going to see if it manages to turn into anything. That's just Jarvan's just cleaning up. Another binding hat lands onto the Karma there. Not quite enough damage as she survives on the sliver, the smallest amount of health. And this is just looking disastrous. Still only 3 kills on ICawin.
Yeah, so it seems like, you know, if ICawin gets a lead, it's gonna draw out for 30 or so minutes. But when
this is their chance. They're trying the Baron. Unfortunately, they've got quite good vision control. They've got quite a lot of Baron damage, and everyone else out of ICawin is base. So, not the throw we're hoping for.
We're still seeing the main pillars of ICawin's team combat just still so weak. Like the Orianna sitting on 1.5 items. Jinx hasn't even completed a Zeal item. She has basically nothing at this point. And the Alawi not able to generate any pressure against the Vladimir. And then it kind of questions, why do you have Alawi? She's not a CC tank. She's like a juggernaut. If anything, she's there to do damage, but she can't step up to Vlad. So what is she contributing?
So it certainly looks like we're about to head to our very first Game 3 of this tournament. We'll see.
First. Wow.
This is the first, Get 3 games in a row for amateur teams is quite difficult. I found always when playing New L, third game we always end up losing because you just get tired by the end of it.
I think a playoff will be great because we can see both teams adapting to what the other team is doing, because they've both shown their strengths, like
with just and their weaknesses certainly. And hopefully this is going to be a clean exit from Extra Thick on the bot lane. Warwick's coming in. Look how squishy that is. There's shockwaves coming out just to prevent the Warwick from doing any damage. Jarvan's being taken very low actually. Meanwhile, Vladimir's coming in at the back line. Managing to do a lot of damage, just scaring them all off. Don't even need to do anything, and they're all below half health already. That should be clean and hip, and probably didn't transition into the game off that. They have only got 2 kills. They're going to go tutorial style. Nope, they're going straight for the base. 7-1 Tristana, easily killing these towers. Nothing whatsoever that can be done at this stage. Braum coming in for the flash out. Jinx ult comes in and doing about 1 damage to the Vladimir, and meanwhile dying in 2 auto attacks on the Tristana. Chaos Effect at 200 health, attempting to 1v1. Interesting choice of the cleanse there as the final spot comes out from the Lux. But that will be game 2 going to Extra Thick, bringing the total to 1-1. That was a much more of a one-sided game that we saw last time.
I'm still looking forward to this game 3 because I think that Extra Thick have shown that if you put people on their comfortable champions or their give them a strong early game or a way to generate a lead, they really push it. They really know how to go and get the lead and close off. I mean, we saw the bot lane playing so aggressively, even with the Braum, who is generally a more conservative defensive support. Almost like he wanted to be playing Alistair, really, with the way he was playing. I'd like to see what ICawin do here, because it does feel like their bot lane doesn't step up in the same way that ThICc does, and we didn't see the pressure generated from this Jarvan like we saw from the Rengar. We didn't see him, able to gank where he wanted or generate nice leads. It just fizzled away, and each lane more or less won individually, bit by bit, or in I guess top lane's case, by large bit by large bit.
Yeah, so I think one of the things that's also happened is that actually it was blue side this game. So they picked up the Tristana as their first pick, who was the only Premier AD carry left on the table after Varus and Xayah were off. So, I mean, Jinx probably not really as good as Tristana in general. She was somewhat outclassed, like both in terms of the AD carry skill, but also just in terms of the champion itself. So, ICawin, blue side next game. Maybe they'll try and take that back. Oh, I've heard it's actually going to be a coin flip for the.
Yeah, we don't know what sides
game
they're going to be, so we're going to have a coin flip to determine
who's got better RNG then.
Yeah, so looking at the damage graph, it's just all Vlad, really.
Yeah,
that's absolutely
not to discount the Tristana. I mean,
not to discount the Tristana. Pretty much.
I think this is really highlighting what I said. Like, Jinx is such a late game champion. She actually doesn't do anything until you give her 3 items, and then she's good. But meanwhile, Tristana, she's strong once she hits level 2. Once she gets her BF sword, she's scary. She can 1v1 the enemy AD carry, unless even if it's Vayne, she can win that 1v1 so often. It's if you're gonna take late game carry like Jinx, then you need something to help you get to the late game. Whereas the other champions are more for strong mid game skirmishes. So you want a mid game AD carry, not someone who dips terribly in mid game.
Yeah, I think they could have maybe taken a Tahm Kench on the side of with the Jinx, like shut down all of those pressure, like the Tristana jumping onto her, totally
Lux and Warwick as well, just countered by Tahm Kench there.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and it was on the table. I guess it just sort of goes down to Ricky's champion pool. But I think especially in that game, it would have been really perfect to have a Tahm Kench, and probably possible to pick up given the pick order.
Although I would be interested to see how the bot lane plays out, because the tank v tank matchup, like if
it's totally fine for Tahm Kench.
But we're seeing the confidence from $9 Suki 6. Like he's really like when on Braum, he was just showing ICawin, I am the bot lane. I will just engage on you and kill you over and over again. Or like he just kept fighting over and over. Sure, he got overstepped that one time and was killed in the bot lane, but after their summoners were burned. But once they had their summoners, they're like, we're taking the kills, we're gonna kill you.
Yeah,
in a tank matchup, it would be even worse if you don't know how to play the tank matchup.
I think a lot of the swing in the bot lane was mostly about the kill pressure that the Tristana Braum had, and taking something that like a Tahm that totally nullifies that would, completely change the dynamic of the lane.
I think it's true if you play it correctly, but like it's very easy, especially with Braum, to just Tahm ate the AD carry. Well, we're just gonna stun Tahm and then kill him instead. If we're seeing a skill differential, a tank matchup is where it really shows. If you're playing Karma into Braum, it's easy to bully a Karma even if you're 2 divisions down. Let's be honest here. But
I would say something like a Karma sort of makes up for the skill differential.
That's what I mean.
Karma has an easy time bullying a Braum. But
that's what I mean. But if you pick Tahm Kench, your the skill differential is going to show, to be quite honest. So
yeah.
Anyway, that's us for the second game.
Right, so yeah, we're going to take a quick break now, and straight afterwards, we're going to have the third game, the first ever third game in this tournament so far between Cambridge and ICL. Again, two ICL teams in this tournament, in this round. We're going to be very interested to see the result of this one as the teams will adapt. Taking a quick break, don't go anywhere, we'll be right back. Welcome back to the MMOCircles tournament between Iceland and Cambridge. This is game 3 of Extra Thick versus ICawin, and we saw a dominating performance. Out of Extra Thick in the last game.
We did indeed, and we've heard that the coin flip has happened, and we're going to have ICawin on blue side for this game. I think that makes picks and bans quite interesting going into this final game. What do we think?
I think ICawin have definitely had some alarming, alarm bells rung in front of their faces. Like, hey, look, we've got Vladimir. What's your answer to it? Yeah, whatever. that my point is made. They see this Vladimir come out, and they're like, and they clearly have no answer to it, or they Vladimir basically did whatever he wanted and just kind of crushed them. And also the bot lane with Tristan and Braum, which should be weaker than Jinx Karma, at least in the early levels, but again, not being answered properly. So I think it's interesting for ICawin to have the first pick advantage. What will they take, and whether they'll play more to their style, like we saw in game 1, with the stronger macro play, the better rotations.
Yeah. So I think they are first pick. I mean, one of the things is last game, Extra Thick had first pick, and they got the Tristana. So I don't expect Extra Thick to get the AD carry advantage. I mean, if Tristana's not picked, it's probably going to be because it's banned. So I imagine either ICawin will have the Tristana or the Varus, or Extra Thick's going to get nothing at all, and then probably push down to a suboptimal AD carry. But we'll have to see. Yeah, I'm moving.
how many ADC bans are we thinking?
So I know ICawin's almost certainly going to stick with the Xayah ban. I'd like to see them ban, the Tristana as well, or actually scrap that. If they're banning it, they want to pick up either one of Tristana or Varus, because those are the two which have really shone in these games. So.
Well, the Varus, did you say? We haven't seen the Varus, have we?
Well, he's been banned both times.
It's been banned. It's shone by its absence.
Yeah, I mean, he shines in every game. He's basically
honestly, controversial opinion here. Varus, I prefer the Tristana. Can't deal with ADCs in these kind of games that do not have escapes.
No, so
Jarvan against Varus, and he just dies.
But we've got to remember, Tristana's W, is it really an escape? To some AD carries, it's an engaged tool. So it can be.
Well,
it's a This is double-edged spear. Like, is it really helping?
A double-edged sphere.
Spear. I'm taking a few liberties with my phrases here. I don't.
Come back stronger.
No, I just thought you said sphere.
You can't count the edges on the spear.
Yeah.
Right.
They're potentially opting to leave the cane open. No, they did ban it in the end. Just slightly different order, same 3 bans. Rengar Gangplank is very standard. I don't know why they didn't ban Vlad. I think Extra Thick is just gonna pick it early.
But now there is no Varus bans. We are going to see if they agree with me and take the Tristana.
No, they
Of course they don't. They take the Varus first pick.
Yeah, so
I'm hoping that Extra Thick would have
better.
predicted that was going to happen after they leave the Varus open, so they have some counter threat, or maybe they just don't give a shit about it, like I also don't. So
I think I'm happier to see the Varus pick though, because just the way ICawin plays, they seem to really like mid game, or they pick around jungle and mid. They pick a lot of strong mid game skirmishing champions almost. So Varus is much better with the ultimate. You can just really pick out anyone. If they're within the screen of Varus, they're dead. If Jarvan's nearby, that's what it looks like ICawin are good at doing.
And Extra Thick, don't fix what ain't broke. Tristana and work again.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. The Sejuani coming out.
I think Sejuani's a great pick. The CC is so important.
What I wanted to see out of them last. Glad they're picking it this game.
So these guys can engage in an instant. Varus ult comes out, Sejuani's coming around the corner.
I do not want a Zillion. Please do not pick a Zillion with a Varus.
Seeing Zillion again.
I mean, the Zillion worked quite effectively in the first game.
It did, but that was because the game was horrible. It shouldn't have worked as well as it did.
Well,
and
the thing
Varus is not hyper carry that you want to revive.
Well, he does bring a lot of damage to the table.
It's worth remembering as well. Revive of Varus, he's lost all his Rage Blade stacks, And
Yeah.
if you revive a Varus, the Vladimir Warwick are probably on top of him, waiting for him
Yeah,
to respawn.
exactly.
He's not a champion yet who, if you revive, he's going to pop off like Tristana can, maybe. She can jump out and carry on fighting. But you revive a Varus, well, he's still...
Yeah, the Varus is already ulted, he's
in a bit of
already
bad
used the
place.
ability. He's done a lot of damage already. The Ahri ban is coming out. It's interesting that they haven't ICawin, although they have a mid laner who mains Ahri, haven't prioritized it before the second rotation of bans comes out. Thus haven't been able to play it yet.
Much like the Alawi pick the pick and ban, I'm surprised to see they take Zilean here, as if... I don't know if Extra Thick would ban Zilean. I have my reservations about that, but I feel like if they wanted Ahri, they should have taken Ahri here. Or perhaps they're leaving their mid pick open to maybe counter pick. So maybe that's the reason.
We've seen the mid pick open twice, and it hasn't been the counter. It's just been the Lux. So I feel like the champion pool may be a bit restricted here.
Lux on the
Galio ban.
thick side.
Oh yeah, sorry, it was a Lux on the extra thick side.
But I mean, Ahri's good into Lux, so it's difficult to tell what ICawin are going
So
for.
maybe we'll see a Lux on.
But yeah, to pick
Approach
Zilean
avoid.
so early and leave, especially give Extra Thick the counter pick is.
And now we do see the Lux ban. They just got bored of playing against Lux, so we're just going to see what champion they're playing against instead this time.
And maybe there's a bit of mind gaming here because we see Vladimir was picked here, but Braum was banned out, and it could have very well gone the other way around. Maybe that's what ICawin were banking on, that Extra Thick would take the Braum early so they can ban the Vladimir, or at least they don't let Extra Thick get both of these picks, where they did seem power picks.
And the Xerath has come out, which is pretty much the same as a Lux, with a less of a long range bind.
Bit more poke,
bit more wave clear, less of
an Orianna,
less of a one-shot potential, but still pretty good.
This is Orianna.
Orianna Assault is Orianna, so
And so
very
this
boring lane.
is a team comp with the exception of the Zilean, I'm liking the team combat of ICawin here. And now, is this a Yorick or is this a proxy?
We have no idea. Let's find out.
We're here soon.
Yeah, so
Yorick.
They have actually picked a Yorick. Anyone seen a Yorick in the last couple of years?
I mean, he's very good at pushing. I think he has the highest first turret percentage of any laner.
Yeah, because he gets an extra minion wave, so that's
ThICc coming out. This definitely makes sense.
I kind of like the Yorick pick because if he stays a split pushing menace, then he will essentially remove Vladimir from the team fights, and that's kind of what they want. They don't want Vlad to ever touch their AD carry because their AD carry is getting rolled over. If they keep it a 4-1 split with Yorick always applying side lane pressure, it could turn out well, especially with Sejuani or Orianna. Like they can nuke Extra Thick very quickly, and the Varus ultimate.
Yeah, so also one thing came out at the end there was the ThICc pick. So Tristana and ThICc, they have a really deadly combo where the Tristana jumps forward and just gets a free staff because there's no dodging that. I mean, it's pretty strong in lane. I believe what are they up against? They're up against a Varus Zilean. So essentially, it's very hard to get any sort of kill pressure, even once they do hit 6, just because of the Zilean ultimate. But they do have a lot of pick potential and very strong team fighting in the late game, just because of that ThICc pick.
I think definitely if Extra Thick ever gets a group and like their comp just hits critical mass, like this ThICc is plus the Vladimir Warwick is nigh unstoppable. Like what are you gonna do?
Yeah, I mean, it would have been nice to see some sort of if they're looking to have this Yorick be a split push pressure, it would have been nice to see the rest of the 4 have some bit more disengage, like. Across the board, they've probably got to use the Varus ult to disengage, which isn't ideal. Especially like if Warwick can basically just ult straight through the Varus ult. So,
especially with Warwick shown on the first pick rotation from Extra Thick. Again, the Tam Kench would have looked quite nice. Like I'm not sure I agree with the Zilean pick in.
You don't say.
In any way, shape, or form.
It did work out for them in the first game, but I mean, it was a different team, different composition. So
yeah,
it's hard to say, really.
If we think Zilean's impact, like, did he get big team fight double bombs? Not really. They were more like picks, and like ThICc can pick with his ultimate. He can pick really well. If you extend like a meter past your turret, a ThICc is behind you and you're dead. So I think I don't know if this is this must be a lot more comfort based in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's just not.
In your support mains Zillion.
Right.
I think he does play Zillion. I mean, well, obviously he does, but
I just think with the Varus, they could have such I don't know, a more cohesive comp. Every game here, there's always that weird wrench in the team comp. I mean,
yeah, I mean, to be honest, Extra 6 comp seems very
it's looking a lot better.
Effective. Like, it's basically the same comp as last game. Swapping out the Bronze for ThICc means they have, you know, much stronger late game team fighting, as if they needed any more of that.
And on the side of ICawin, we've got the mid game skirmishing. Orianna, Varus, Yorick's going to be very effective. Sejuani, great team fight combos there, and then just a Zillion just for fun, I guess, who is going to be able to revive.
I mean, whoever gets
after
hit
he'd
by
already used his useful abilities.
Whoever gets hit by Warwick ult isn't going to die, because it's very obvious that they're going to die.
That's true. But again, with this team, it's not one that you really need to, pick off someone.
You could do the same effect with a ThICc, like 10 times better.
The same effect with a ThICc, but better. Exactly.
And even more so, maybe someone gets Zillion ulted, but you have a ThICc ult which makes 5 people invulnerable. Like, that's so much more effective. Like, who cares if I have to wait for this one person to revive when we're all literally, unkillable, and we're just beating down on you.
Yeah, I mean, I think the ThICc really is really good into ICawin's comp here. Like, they have no way of stopping. Like, once the ThICc ult lands, there's nothing they can do to stop them, get them away from each other. Like, for instance, like an Azir would be a good way of getting the team away. Also, certain supports, like even Bard, is quite good against ThICc in the sense that you can just freeze the fight and time out the duration of the ThICc ult. I mean, I know the ThICc came at the end, so they couldn't have predicted it.
I do really like the Bard call here, though. Like, especially with the mid game plays, like the long range ults or tunneling over walls and the wall stuns. It's you could make so much happen if you're. And the way Ricky seemed to be playing Zillion, it's like that's what he wants to be doing. Just pick a different champion. Almost. There are other champions who can do.
This guy, Ricky P, is a Bard main. Is the only reason I mentioned it.
Is he really? I mean, absolutely pick Bard. Definitely pick Bard. Really strong. Especially
although it's unlikely that they would have picked ThICc into the Bard. So I mean, I guess it's hard to really call them out for that one.
But even then, Bard's strong against what Xerath. Like Xerath ults, you can ult back, and Xerath is removed from the fight.
Xerath is literally 3 kills against Bard because he has no way of getting out of the Bard ult.
Yeah, and you can. I think his ultimate is so effective against so many of this members of this enemy team comp.
I can't remember the order in which the Xerath was picked.
I believe it was a 4th pick, so after the second row of bans.
Yeah, so I think Zillion was 3rd. So the
True.
But so the thing is, like, they'd already given away a lot of their composition in the first 3 picks. I believe it was Varus, Sejuani, Zillion.
That's what I mean. Like, why pick Zillion? Why not just pick Orianna there, for example? Like, they seem to like playing Ori, and like it doesn't show much about your comp, or it's a very nice standard mid laner, and the enemy mid laner plays mages. Like, they're not going to hard counter you with not even that much hard counter Ori. Like, they're not going to pick Zed or something out of nowhere. So you're safe to pick Ori. Why don't you pick Ori? Why do you pick Zillion? Zillion, who's very niche and does lock your comp. And also a champion who's not going to get banned out, right? Like, if you really want to pick it later, but Ori could have got banned out. Who knows?
So
like,
I'm just wondering whether ICawin thought the Zillion was a good pick because of the team comp, or just picked it because it's better than whatever else. They'd rather Ricky not have to play someone he doesn't want to.
I mean, we're sort of discussing how his Bard pick, he's quite comfortable with that, and I think it would make sense in this composition, just because they want like strong engage with the Sejuani Varus. I mean, piling more onto that it makes it completely impossible for Extra ThICc to avoid this engage. But I mean, we'll see how it plays out. Zillion has his own engaging tools, but he's also a bit more defensive than Bard would be. So, yeah, we'll see how it plays out. Annoyingly with still seeing the Vlad, I think it's really easy for ICawin to take Vlad off the table, and Chaos Effect proving like he is a monster on this Vlad, and he destroyed your cookie in the last game.
I do really question whether it's that Vlad. I mean, we haven't seen the Kane or Nidalee from Fighter, but the fact that they're consistently banned along with Xayah from ICawin, like they just don't want to have to look at that. I think that Vladimir, they really showed like they had no answer to that Vladimir. Maybe this Yorick is the secret pick. Maybe this Yorick is how they shut down Vladimir. We'll just have to see. But to ignore that threat that we saw just roll over them last game, I don't know.
Yeah. And once again we see the Zilean taking the exhaust against the Vladimir Warwick, and yeah, I don't see any reason for that really.
I don't know if they're uncomfortable with taking Ignite. I can't imagine, especially a Bard main doesn't know how to use Ignite. For sure they do, but and again, but this is also a team decision. Like, you know, maybe we should have an Ignite, or do we want exhaust in our support? It's something you got to think about, right? I mean, there's not that many summoners to debate, but
yeah.
no adaptation seen there, which is a shame because especially in the best of 3, you'd hope you'd see that kind of adaptation. But maybe they have good reasons behind it.
So we now are in game in this third game of the best of 3. As we said, this is the first best of 3 we've seen, so we're really looking forward to seeing how this changes from the previous just 2-0s that we've seen in all the previous ones. Are they going to be more tired out than the previous games? Are they going to have a greater awareness of their enemies' strengths and weaknesses? Certainly in Champ Select has been, which we discussed extensively, the Champ Select has changed from game to game. But whether the playstyle gets a bit more focused or gets even more chaotic as they are just out of stamina.
More chaotic than game 1 would be quite something to see.
Yeah, it would be quite something.
I really want to see ICawin not just...
the first hit comes out, Xerath hitting Varus with his Q there.
I really want to see ICawin not just falling behind early game, not being able to do anything, because I think their comp has such strong mid-game potential. And I want to see some cool mid-game skirmishes. I want to see this Yorick face up to this Vladimir, show him who's the boss of top lane. I want ICawin to put up a nice fight here because Extra ThICc kind of have the team fight, have the late game. If ICawin don't secure some kind of early or mid-game leads, it's not looking really good.
Yeah, interestingly, we're seeing the ancient coin on Zilean. I think against a ThICc, you really have the
There's the same the first game as well, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but he has the potential to bully him with the spell thieves. I mean, you can't build that up into the whatever the speedy item is nowadays. But
whatever the speedy item, yeah.
Whatever the speedy item is, you can't build it anymore. So
interesting top lane trade coming out of level 1 with Chaos Effect running into the bush with your cookie in and taking a hit to the face on the Vladimir. It's also interesting to see how the mid lane goes out with the we had T-Bone struggling on the mid lane occasionally in the even matchups, and now this is a matchup playing against Xerath is always so annoying in that lane. The slice of everything.
You better have your happy feet on.
Yeah.
The top lane trade, go back to the top lane trade. It's quite interesting. We saw Yukiki only popping his corrupting potion right at the beginning of the trade for that little bit of extra damage. Nice little optimizations, which paid off.
Once again, we see the ICawin bot lane not managing to get the level 2 advantage, despite having a perfectly reasonable duo to take that.
Warwick and Sejuani getting dangerously close in the top lane. Warwick is walking into Sejuani's jungle again and trying to get in a skirmishes. Sejani's walking the wrong way. It's not looking like anyone's going to come to help. Vladimir's quite near, but Vladimir's entirely ignoring this fight. Oriana's coming to help, and Xerath is also getting there. Sejani does have to flash away there. It's taken so very low. I'm not quite sure why Vladimir stayed there. Xerath does manage to get into the back and finish her off. The main team alone is also having to flash away. This is looking extremely good for Extra ThICc to start with here, as the jungle invade gets ready to double buff up to both the champions here. Vladimir now finally arrives to get in the back. Are they going to get a third kill? We have Yorick running away here. They're not going to be able to get the third one down, but that is insanely good. Yorick running straight into the top jungle, finding the Sejuani, killing the Sejuani straight off. The Xerath coming to the back line. I don't know what Sejuani is doing running that way. Why doesn't she just run back into her own jungle?
I think the bane of every jungler as well, when you're getting invaded like that and you're... Why won't you come to me, you solo laners?
Yeah. Xerath managed to get there before the Oriana did. Maybe Oriana was... Oh, yes, Oriana was only level 2 and had not leveled up the E yet, which is why there was no shield for the Sejuani issue. desperately tries to escape there.
It's small differences in perhaps I would say skill that can lead to this sort of thing, like Orianna not having the push against Sarah in that sense. So she lacks the priority to help Sejuani immediately when she wants to, or like lacks the level 3, depending on where the wave was, whether there was enough time to level up in that sense. And it can hurt you really badly. It can enable Warwick to make these aggressive jungle plays if both his solo laners are pushing in really hard. They're going to react faster.
I'm going to predict we're going to see a very one-sided mid lane now, as we have the Xerath already difficult champion to lane against with the double buff, with the level 1 kill. Top lane though is not going so great for Chaos Effect, although Yorick is out of mana now.
Yeah, so I mean he could back now and teleport back in. I guess he doesn't want to do that too early. He should have a fine time, you know, just staying relatively even in this lane. Doesn't seem like he's going to be bullying out the Vlad too much, just based on how the lane's gone so far. But potentially in the later levels, we'll see that. Surprisingly, we're actually seeing like closer CS than in some of the previous games. Like, I mean, the CS in bot is actually quite relatively even, only a wave down.
Although with an aggressive pokey lane like Zilean Varus, you'd really hope they'd build some kind of lead, or at least have priority in that lane rather than just falling behind. Because it's kind of something we see a bit often with the bot lane here, and just not quite holding up their own against, I guess, Kartar's Tristan almost. Maybe a bit better than Kartar's Vayne.
It's also about, you know, Nine Butsuki's ThICc play versus Ricky's Zilean, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, as a duo though, like your coordination matters so much, but it feels like they concede too much in the bot lane.
Well, they're conceding level 1 and the level 2, and
I mean,
all those levels till 5.
Well, just notice this Warwick in the bot lane there, looking to counter jungle some more times, his perfectly to not get seen by the mini wave heading in. He's not getting much vision down, not carrying any wards on him currently, but has got one at the red buff. He's going to try and head around. I'm guessing his Warwick's going to stay around the mid and bot side of the jungle. Orianna's getting very low though. Right of the Arcane coming out. How good to have the footwork here. He comes out, does manage to prevent the Warwick's going to come in from the back and should pick up an easy kill. That was not the good time to use stopwatch, I feel. That was 100% death, regardless of it. But Warwick walks back into the tower and dies for no reason. What are you doing, Warwick?
Crucial stopwatch. That really didn't play out of T-Roland.
I would not have used stopwatch there, but it worked, I guess. He just stood in the tower for no reason, taking 2 hits after Orianna had already died. Looking for the greedy kill there. Just let Xerath tank the tower and then go in and try and steal the kill.
Not to put down T-Roland there. It was great to the first shot dodge. Although he got hit by the last 2, he was able to use his shield to survive the 3rd shot rather than his stopwatch, and that was crucial to surviving that dive there.
It was crucial to surviving the dive.
Until at least getting the counter kill.
And he got it was a 1 there, so that's a mistake out of the Warwick. We do see on the bot side, ThICc is going very aggressive and continuously trying to get the stuns off, continuously trying to go in. They haven't managed to find a good opportunity yet, but I can imagine we're going to see something very shortly. Trist has just hit 6, but neither side on ICawin's bot lane have hit that yet. Warwick's managed to join in the jungle. Yeah, both of them are level 6. Does have ult up. Is going to continue to go in. Tiny ult. Sejuani is going to go down probably. Manages to dive into the wall with the dash. Zilean is not quite there in time as they try and collapse to try and help.
I mean, Sejuani's flash was up there as well, that you should not die that way.
Sejuani's flash was up. Meanwhile, Aurelius has walked into the middle of them. Shockwave comes out, but the bot lane's here. Varus gets the ult off. Warwick's going to walk into both of them, but the bot lane from ThICc is here as well. ThICc gets the stun off, flashing in. Now the stopwatch comes out from South. A very good time to stopwatch. We're going to have the Varus just about trying to escape the Warwick. I'm not sure it's going to be enough. Zilean again. The whole fight, Zilean is just wandering around, not knowing what to do. We're seeing a very early great start off to extra ThICc again, looking fairly similar to last game.
Yeah, this game is not going well for ICawin.
4 kill Warwick.
Yeah, in fact, 4k gold lead at 8 minutes.
4k gold at 8 minutes. And now Sejuani has seen Warwick in the jungle again. This time she goes in straight away. It is a lot more in her favour. We are seeing the Zilean come out. Warwick's on low health. We know Warwick has no ult up. It's looking very close anyway. The bomb comes out. There's not going to get a kill. Brianna manages to take the kill here with the double buff. That's a good kill for the Orianna to have gone. She might be able to survive in this way, this lane a bit longer now.
A much needed kill. She's still 20 CS behind, 40 to 60. Not looking nice for her. And some other interesting itemization choices, the Tyr Varus. I'm intrigued by this. And I mean,
Tyr ThICc.
Tyr ThICc. He has and he has so much. I guess he has so much liberty to cast whatever he wants in these fights so far. He's having so much more impact than Zillion, but even still, definitely a controversial item choice.
ThICc's actually like relatively common. He's one of the few champions that can actually spam his mana so much in a team fight that he'll run out. And getting this Tyr basically means that as long as he's ordering in team fights, the amount of heals that he gets off is absolutely ridiculous.
Trying to go aggressive onto the Xerath here, but that's just way too aggressive. And he realizes something's up, walks straight into the sun without shielding, and continues to walk straight forwards. Xerath immediately realizes that one more shot will do it, and she just manages to dodge it. But yeah, that's bad acting on the part of ThRonan there. You walk straight into the Xerath, who is 2 levels above you, continue going after that. Xerath knows, even with that vision, that there is backup coming. Backs away straight away, good play.
Yeah, so Tristana's like, she took bot turret, and she's gonna try, she's just gonna keep taking these turrets. ICawin's a bit slow to react. They're only just getting their bot lane up now, so they're gonna take a bit of damage. But really, what we want to see is this bot lane from ICawin hitting 6 as early as they can, and use their ults to set up plays, because Varus ult is like incredibly good at setting up plays onto this.
We do see a fight on bot lane at the moment between your Cookie trying to go do some damage onto Vladimir, but it's not quite enough. Vladmir's just got the annoying amount to sustain. You can just walk. The others come down, but they do catch the work at the top lane. Sajani and the Zillion bombs getting the stuns off. Is a Glacial Prison available? It is. Are we going to see it come out? We hopefully should see it come out. The ThICc comes in and the Shockwave. ThICc's not up in time. Channel's not quite enough to save them. Varus comes out. Catches the ThICc at the top lane. The bombs come out again. Those 2 free kills picking them up. So we are seeing some good counter play. It's not over yet.
That's exactly the sort of thing we need to see out of ICawin if they want to come back in this game.
And Chaos Effect is managing to tower dive, is getting tower dive, by your Cookie only here. The heal should come out straight away. Is it going to be enough? The ult's not going to come out. Sorry, ult's going to come out. Cookie only is going to get baited in and killed by the Vladimir sustain and the Zondis. It was very close.
Very unfortunate turn, and just showing the power of stopwatch on this Vladimir. That's twice a massive tower dive survived, and that was really something ICawin really needed at that moment. They do get this top tower hopefully in return, but
it wasn't the worst death in the world. It was a good kill for Vladimir. He does have the recall though. It just
you wouldn't want Vladimir to start rolling though off that.
Yeah, it would have been nice, especially to get that damage onto the bot lane. Meanwhile, we do have Orianna being forced back by the Xerath just out to the lane pressure here. 40 CS difference, still a level difference.
So the gold is staying somewhat even. Seems like ICawin has at least managed to stop most of the bleeding, picking up a turret and some kills. They did lose mid lane turret, and this is just, the Orianna getting poked out and having to back. So, as long as they can keep top turret alive, potentially they can, stop the bleeding in terms of turret death. This will mean that the Yorick's going to need to be able to, stop the Vlad as well, which we've seen that he could probably do. Maybe not diving 1v1, but he can probably keep the lane somewhat even.
The Yorick getting caught slightly off here in the Xerath by the Xerath in the jungle. Great stun lands, and he is going to go down to your Cookie Chaos Effect in the end. Just getting caught off in the jungle there, thanks to the vision placed down by the Warwick. Look how deep this vision is. Orion's going to try and go down here and wave clear. It's not enough. Second tower is going to be taken down in the bot lane here, or the inner tower rather. There's still 3 bot. I'm not sure if ICawin realised that Warwick is still here. Flashing away from the team. Roland's flashing away. Rise of the Arcane's going to try and do a bit of damage. Not going to have to finish her off with this. So Vladimir also does some insane play, but ThRonan is getting brutally hammered this game. We don't want to see any more of those Yorick deaths. Look at that vision and the towers in the bot lane now. very difficult to defend against.
Very unfortunate for ICawin because the Yorick was holding his own. He was really managing to outtrade, even only by small differentials. It was making a big difference. But yeah,
Again,
the unfortunate
Tristana's
aggressive
on the top
dive. And
lane. The stun lands onto the Zillion. Zillion's taken very low. He's going to have to ult himself. Eventually, the Chain of Corruption comes out, lands. Tarot eventually trying to come out. There's a bit of a useless Tarot comes out way too late. Against a 50-50 trade, but Zillion ends up really low. Zillion still out, but we do have Varus out of mana. So Varus, one of those champions, not so good out of mana. Blown away out of range as the Zillion ult by the car tire W and ult. Very nice play there, hitting the Varus completely out of range of the revive from the Zillion. So nice play on the top lane.
this is still something that should never happen for ICO.
Oriana's coming in through the top though. They're going to pick up any more kills coming in the back. There's no Tarot Cult. Shockwave comes out, but it's flashed away from now. 2 Radiant's getting really scared. They might be trying to bait in. Sejani's going to come with the black. Glacial Prison comes out way too late, and it's avoided very, very easily. The flash though again, it's too late. The stun comes out. This is going to be a really poorly executed dive of all 3 members being either whiffing or missing their abilities. We are hopefully going to see the kill onto the tower. It was not a complete waste, but that Glacial Prison was not... You don't want to lead by Glacial Prison in that situation.
Absolutely, you would much rather use the charge to get in range. But, so, unfortunately quite sloppy almost by ICawin, and the initial 2v2 from bot lane, I believe Varus was sitting
Yorick's
in the...
looking very confident in the bot lane here, still getting all the way onto the Vladimir. Vladimir's attempted to complete away, but he's trapped in the thing. The pull comes out when he's a very low health. He's not going to have any much time to hit, but the heal does come out. The ult comes out. He's very low though. There's no stopwatch now, and only does manage to take this kill. Looking like this, although the pressure he suffered on the bot lane without the towers and without the trays, he still can 1v1 this Vladimir.
And this is a Yorick who hasn't even completed his Triforce. He only has two Triforce items, and he's still able to match Vladimir and, yeah, show him who's boss.
Oh, the Warwick ult comes out straight onto the Varus, who manages to flash away. Chain of comes out and lands. The shockwave's available, doesn't even need it onto the Warwick, who overextended the welcome. I don't think he realized all 4 members of ICawin were bot side. ICawin got a bit scared at the 1v1 between Yorick and Vlad. They all went to help him out. And as a result, we're all in the bot lane when the Warwick decides to go onto the Varus. Does result in the Varus having burnt his flash though, so that's not going to be ideal for the next fight. But
Well, perhaps not an intentional rotation, at least it definitely got them a much needed kill.
Well, in the meantime, we have Yorick playing a bit too aggressive now, stuck in the 1v2 on the bot lane. Yorick's not quite good enough for this, even though Kartai's out of mana, just feeding another 3 kills with Stun is not what you want. They are going to try and counter that with the Herald though, but it might not be such a good idea if they continue to tank the Xerath poke. It is 4 versus 3. Not quite enough though. They're trying to pull out of the pit, but it's going to be a 50-50 at this rate. The Xerath is getting a lot of poke onto the Zillion, who's decided just to stay behind the wall. Vlad's coming in, trying to go onto the Varus, and Varus is being taken very low. Double bombs slammed onto the Xerath, but Sejani does smite away the bluff. Glacial Prison landing just onto the Vladimir, attempt to disengage right to the arcade, does a lot of damage in the backline there. They should be able to get away very nicely, but the Warwick flashes managed to get 1 kill in exchange for the Rift Herald, but it might be more than 1 kill.
Rift Herald wasn't actually taken.
Rift Herald wasn't actually taken down, so we get the kill, but no one manages to pick it up, or no one has picked it up yet. It looks like they might actually cancel Johnny back off here as he's trying to walk back. Nope, too tanky currently, but the stun lands, the damage from Xerath comes out. Not quite enough to finish her off or even do much damage there.
And that's absolutely just a poor communication from the side of ICawin. You see their bot lane on going for Yorick. You can't let extra thick stall that.
Oh, Warwick's going to ulting over the wall onto the Varus, but the Zillion ult this time arrives in time, but like we said, stands instantly stunned by the Xerath and goes down anyway.
Yeah, he was on his own there.
Being useful as
if he had a team to defend him while he was reviving, then probably could have stayed alive.
But again,
he was
the
on his
vision
own.
control here was not. Varus is walking through his own jungle, but the vision out of the Rift Herald fight, extra thick on the top side, just meant they could see wherever he moved. Jumped over the wall with the Varus ult. Getting great amount of damage here, and we're going to see again, probably Yorick is going to suffer here as they get extra thick spot lanes taking the red buff. He's pushed out really far by himself. They're going to ignore him for now.
Yeah, so one thing is that Sejuani should have just probably suicided to get the Rift Herald. I mean, she didn't really gain anything by staying alive. She didn't keep anyone else alive.
I mean, at the fight, ICawin, they were fighting a 43 if they engaged, and if they're not looking to engage, then they shouldn't be there at all. The stall meant the bot lane managed to kill Yorick, come all the way up, and turn it into a 5v4. Like that should never happen.
Yeah,
you either go for the engage, go for the kill. They had Chain of Corruption, they had Shockwave, they used neither, and they
we're seeing your Kagaleone attempt to get his Chaos Effect again. This time missing the trap though. Chaos Effect is going to have to be able to ghost and run away pretty effectively, but Glacial Prison and the E coming in at the same time from the Journey. That's a free kill picked up, but meanwhile the Xerath hitting the stun, getting the full combo onto Ricky B. It's going to try and run away. The shield coming out, but the flash is also, the Shockwave's coming out as a double stun hits. It's going to be a nice kill. No bomb left, but the Q from the Varus comes out. Meanwhile, the bot lane, Tristana dives onto the Yorick. It's going to get the kill. Sejani's come in, trying to help, but it may be Invader's tag's going to ult and get the stuns off there. That is 2 kills that you don't want to give up at this stage of the game. Unnecessary.
Seems like for every kill Yorick gets, they're losing 2 more afterwards. But I mean, it's good that Yorick's starting to win these fights, and Vlad is not able to pressure a side lane in the sense that he's always scared of this Yorick. But at the same time, ICawin's not really doing anything on the other side of the map, so ThICc doesn't have to be scared of coming down and collapsing on him.
I don't think there's much ICawin can do. I mean, Orianna is 70 CS behind. And similar for the Varus, their carries are just way too weak. If anything, they need to play around Yorick carefully. But even with their strong engage that they should have, they just fell behind too early and let the gold lead extend far too much. And it's on all the right people as well.
Yeah. Seems like this Cloud Drake's going to go over to ThICc. Pretty easy, not much contest from there. But it is, at the end of the day, just a Cloud Drake. So ICawin's probably very happy to give that up.
I think this might be a saving grace for ICawin, that ThICc are only getting Cloud Drakes off here, because in the end, ICawin might be able to turn with a Miracle Engage, Miracle Picks, and the Cloud Drake won't help. Like a Mountain would help them get all the Barons and Towers really easily, or an Inferno would just give them the water.
I'm seeing all 4 members of ICawin, all 4 plus the Yorick in the bot lane, but heading into the top side there, scared of this Baron dance, and Zillion face checks and is going to get instantly killed by Xerath and Warwick here. Meanwhile, Vladmir's trying to pick off the Chain of Corruption. Missions due to the pool, now going to have to back away. Glacial Prison is still available. The Shockwave, brilliant Shockwave comes out. Where's the Glacial Prison to follow up with that, man? That was a perfect chance to get out there. It was available and she didn't use it. A 3-man Shockwave, the flash away comes from the Varus. Why wasn't the Glacial Prison used?
I'm not sure what she's holding it on for. Just no idea. Really.
They could have escaped,
especially how trigger happy she seems to have been. I'm not saying it's bad.
I mean,
Zillion died too quickly to use his ult. It seemed he was CC to death, but then the Shockwave, a brilliant 3 ult man Shockwave to disengage, could have been followed up by the Glacial Prison, was not. That's resulted in the red team extra taking the Baron. I mean,
at the end of the day, they had Yorick pushing in bot lane. They just needed to not die. They had to just back off a little bit.
And they had a perfect chance to not die with the Glacial Prison.
If ThICc starts the Baron, you just run in there with all your engage, and there's nothing they can do about it because they're locked down with CC.
Yeah, so, some very poor play out of ICawin here.
They had a massive chance to get a potentially an inhib if, or at least forcing ThICc into a difficult situation as they either defend their bot and lose Baron, or get Baron and lose their bot. But instead they sort of lost neither, just because ICawin got caught for no reason really.
And I think missed opportunity might be the headline of this game, because we're just not seeing ICawin take as many chances as they should be. Like with the Chain of Corruption, you are still Varus against Tristana, for example. You are being outscaled. You need to use that ultimate and make it really worth it in the mid game. And similarly, we're not seeing very strong.
We're seeing Varus getting dived or shredded by the thing here that right the Arcane isn't going to be able to finish. Doing quite good at sidestepping at the moment, and the Chaos Effect is actually a very aggressive dive and going straight down here. Varus manages to sidestep all of the shots of right of the Arcane, actually ending up in a 1-for-0.
But can they defend the tower?
Though. They're continuing the siege in the 4v5. They don't have a Vladimir up. This is kind of unnecessary move, but actually the Arcane far pulses out of the Xerath are going to be able to take them down. This is looking like a white. We're going to see your Kagaleone dying to the rest of the team here. One hit getting half the hit of Zillion, and this is looking like a devastating blow.
They don't have minions just yet. They've got 20 seconds to win. I'm wondering if they're going to decide to go for it or not.
I don't think they're going to go for the
They've
end.
got
They've got
Vlad
10
teleport
seconds.
again. They're going
from the
for it.
Vladimir.
Well, the Lambo's up. They got Baron minions and they are going for it. This could be a very quick ending to game 2. It looked such a good attempt at the siege, but then Xerath managing to one-shot the virus after he was taken to half health from a really long range. It's actually looked like a very easy victory here. I didn't think they were going to do it with the respawn timers, but look how weak this Orianna is. You can just see by the health bar. Level 11 versus level 14. There's nothing they can be done, and that is it. This is going to be game 3 to Extra ThICc after losing the first game. Extra ThICc advance to the finals, and they will face the winner of currently untitled versus ICmonkeys at a currently undetermined time. That was possibly a less close game than we expected from the game 3, especially given these team comps.
Yeah, so I mean, I think it was just down to execution, really. I think ICawin had lots of opportunities to do good things in that game, but you know they didn't really pull the trigger at the right times, and they weren't able to execute.
But I think if you take this comp, though, you need to be one calling all the shots. You need to be confident in your execution, because what we saw from the previous games, they didn't really have an answer to Kardas Tristana. They didn't have an answer to the Warwick or the Vladimir, like particularly the Vladimir from Chaos Effect. Whereas they countered that a bit better in this game, they did nothing to shore up their weakness in the bot lane. And like we can even look at the mid lane. Like Xerath generated a huge lead. I mean, there were some poor early skirmishes which definitely set ICawin behind early, but they shouldn't. If their Orianna falls far behind that much, if their Varus falls behind that much, their team doesn't actually do anything. It's essential to their team comp that their carries stay strong, and if they're not sure they can make that happen, then maybe they need their jungler on the carry jungler like in the first game, because Fufu and Neko seem to be able to bring it out in the first game and really show Extra ThICc who's boss.
Yeah, and again, we did see how useless the Zillion pick was in the end there. We predicted the Zillion pick to be basically useless, and we had a interesting decision beforehand, interesting discussion beforehand about why did he choose Zillion as opposed to the useful champions like Blood. And we still have come to no conclusion on that. Why did he pick Zillion?
Don't know, but possibly just because it worked in the first game. I mean, they have some confirmation that it works. Also, we saw that Extra ThICc didn't actually play that well into the Zillion. They messed up the ults a few times in terms of triggering it when they shouldn't have done. And I mean, yeah, it worked for them. Maybe they were just falling back on something they thought was reliable, but evidently it wasn't.
I do think that Extra ThICC's bot lane, they looked so different in the second 2 games. The first game, they were conceding. They were looking pretty rough.
In the early levels, they were actually doing quite well.
Yeah, they were doing well, but not well in the way we saw in these games. Like we could see ICawin's bot lane could more or less hold their own. They did have the nice fight, 4-man bot lane with the Gangplank ult to make things snowball nicely for them. But in the way that not in the same way where with Kartas Tristana and whatever you put ThICc 6 on, they just build lead after lead after lead after lead, and they get the early towers, they get massive CS leads, and they're not slowed in that. I feel like Kartas Tristana they weren't ready for.
Yeah, so looking at the damage graph, it's basically as expected. Yorick was the only one really out of ICawin doing much in terms of damage, and then across the board from Extra ThICc doing truckloads of damage. Like Tristana, standout performance. Vlad was strong once again, not quite the same dominating performance as in game 2, but he was shut down quite heavily by the Yorick counterpick. So somewhat expected in terms of the damage graphs. I
think the Yorick pick was great, and a great example of ICawin adapting to what Extra ThICC's strengths are. But it is, I guess, disappointing to see they don't shore us up in their other areas.
Okay, so we are going to have an interview with one of the winners. So this is Kartire from Extra ThICc, the AD carry. He should be joining us right now, in fact. Hello.
Hello.
This is Kartire, right?
This is Kartire, the ADC out of the winning team, Extra ThICc. So what were your thoughts after the first game where you had to struggle on Vayne?
Basically, we got 4-man dived like twice. In the 2v2, we had like a 50 CS lead at one point, so that was fine. It was just getting turned out twice. And in the late game, yeah, the engage wasn't really there, and I kind of made some int plays.
Yes.
But I feel like we wouldn't really have won fights anyway, to be honest. I feel in the first game, ICawin's macro was like quite a lot better than ours, to be honest.
We certainly
Yes.
noticed that.
Interesting.
Yeah, well, that Baron on the first game. What the hell were you thinking?
I mean, we were just trying to draw cooldowns, to be honest.
You're trying to what?
Draw cooldowns. For the
Trying to draw
DPR,
cooldowns.
Yeah.
What, your own cooldowns or?
I mean, Talia ult, GP ult, you know.
Yeah, and Nara ult apparently as well.
Yeah.
What I recall in that fight.
Yep.
Went very bad, and Lux ult, in fact, to try and kill the Baron as Evelyn died beforehand.
Yep.
So yeah, it didn't go so well.
Yeah, it wasn't ideal, to be honest.
So, what was the thinking behind the Vayne pick? Because it looks like when you're on the Tristana, you really knew what you were doing. You were the strong backline,
I mean,
kind of an unanswerable threat. What was it?
We didn't really have any other champions to pick. Was the
I see.
that was the main.
Yeah. Well,
we could
we've
have
been
gone.
having this discussion on stream a while about why ICawin kept picking Zillion. What do you think?
I imagine he's a Zillion one trick or something. Like there's.
Yeah, that was. But the thing is, he wasn't. He plays.
He
more
does
than
play
just...
Zillion. He plays
does
other
play-
things as well.
We hear
Yeah.
though that he's a Bard main, and in this game perhaps we were saying that Bard could have been
Oh yeah, yeah.
a much stronger pick than Zillion.
I'm just
Yeah,
looking
we
through.
banned Bard
He
game
does
one.
play Karma, Lulu, more often than he plays Zillion. I just don't
Yeah,
know why
Not sure.
pick was about.
Not sure.
So,
Any-
what would you say? What would you say made your team strong? What do you think is the strengths of your team?
I mean, we basically just got massive leads everywhere in game 2 and 3.
Is that your game plan going to the games? Crush our lanes, get the early advantage, snowball it, and win.
I mean, the game plan was just play our comp as we should play it. You know, let
Right.
Vlad sit in the side lane and do Vlad things. I'm just gonna farm everywhere and listen to them complain that I'm taking it all.
Okay, so just go for the late game death ball.
Yeah,
Really
exactly.
hug Tristana, right?
Or just be like 2.5 items up on Varus, and
Yeah.
there's not really much they can do at that point.
The item advantages were showing so badly in pretty much every skirmish ever.
Yeah.
So, what do you think about going into the finals? So you'll be up against either currently untitled or ICmonkeys. Which are you more scared of, and why?
Well, I don't really know anything about currently untitled, so I'm gonna say ICmonkeys.
Wow. Well, I can say that currently title is a great team. One of the world's best mid laners.
I'm sure they are, but I don't.
I think currently Untitled definitely has a lot more character to it. There's some real interesting figures who will really show the.
Yeah, I'd
the
swap
emotions
character for
lost.
skill. Skill for character anytime. Yeah.
Are you sure you're not just rooting for your home team? No.
Not at all. Not at all.
Oh, of course.
Not at all. Well, I think that concludes our stream for today. Join us at some point next week. We've got currently untitled versus ICmonkeys, which is, as far as we can tell, what people currently consider the best team from Imperial versus the best team from Cambridge. So this should be an interesting match. Hopefully a 3-game. Hopefully at some point next week. And also hopefully at some point next week will be the finals between the winner of that match and Extra Thick will be competing for the £500 prize supplied by MMOCircles for this tournament. We will see who ultimately has the best League of Legends teams. Thank you guys for watching, and we will see you next week.